Star position, leader star name, Song Jiang nickname, protector of righteousness / timely rain true name, Song Qingxi rank, first star weapon, justice on heaven's behalf uprising gathering banner, 0 star, / heavenly star birth banner, 0 star. 2. Star beast, Nun realm, matchless first stage innate skill, uprising 5 elements, metal / water yellow rank special move, Nun dark rank special move, Nun current status, uprising, cannot be conquered, detailed materials, protector of righteousness. Young lord, how did you do this? Wu Xinjie could not close her mouth. Owing to Qingxi's uprising, she and Su Xing were skeptical that Qingxi was leader star Song Jiang, but at the time, Su Xing had tested the birth treasure outline several times without any reaction. Therefore, despite their doubt, they were always unable to determine this matter. Now that they saw the birth treasure outline manifested completely the leader star protector of righteousness Song Jiang's material, Wu Xinjie still thought that her eyes were deceived. How did it appear this time? Wu Xinjie asked in disbelief. Big brother, was the birth treasure outline not able to show anything? And Suwen was confused. It was actually very simple. Since Su Xing felt that it was extremely likely that Qingxi was Song Jiang. The reason that birth treasure outline was unable to show Qingxi's information was because there was a magic weapon or such protecting her. Considering the special nature of the birth treasure outline that came from Maiden Mountain and that there were no records of this kind of data in Liangshan continent, Su Xing hypothesized that Qingxi perhaps had a purple star astral treasure or such that she obtained from the birth treasure outline. Then, when he saw Qingxi's birth treasure outline, Su Xing thought of a possibility. Leaving out every complex, if possible, or maybe, the biggest reason the birth treasure outline did not show Qingxi's information was because Qingxi similarly possessed one of the treasure books. According to the Occam's razor principle that Su Xing knew, if not essential, do not overcomplicate. Thus, Su Xing found an excuse to ponder making the birth treasure outline temporarily leave Qingxi. When he fooled Qingxi by saying that combining the 2 treasure books could reveal a mystery of the star duels, Su Xing was naturally cooking up an excuse. His goal was only to make Qingxi bring out her birth treasure outline in accordance with her own will. Then, the result and what he planned would be the same. If Qingxi was really Song Jiang, then she inevitably would be related to the star duel's inside secrets. After he showed sincerity, Qingxi had no reason or intent to decline. What happened afterwards was much simpler. Without the birth treasure outline on her person, Su Xing's birth treasure outline was able to illuminate Qingxi's true identity. After hearing Su Xing's explanation, all of the girls were astonished. Though it seemed simple, how could this be noticed unless he had paid attention to the smallest detail? Uprising. I never imagined this generation's Song Jiang is surprisingly able to start an uprising. Is that not the same as you? Hua Wanyue felt this generation of star duels was somewhat perplexing. Could it truly be the so-called, because 9 brings about variables? Su Xing isn't uprising. We have actual contracts, no need for that kind of trick. Shi Yuan pursed her lips, disapproving. But the Song Jiangs from before have never had uprising? Shi Yu softly asked. This question stumped Su Xing. I fear only Maiden Mountain or Qingxi herself knows. Su Xing spread his hands. Did dear husband not ask her? I asked Qingxi, and she didn't answer. Apparently, she doesn't want anyone to know, so I didn't ask anymore. However, she truly is as young lord surmised. Perhaps Song Jiang indeed is a variable, but Xinjie does not know if she is a blessing or a calamity upon us, Wu Xinjie muttered. The knowledge star was still digesting all the information she just obtained. This information was truly a bit shocking. She never expected that the chief of the star generals Song Jiang would unexpectedly be like Su Xing, able to contract multiple star generals. Just what this never-before-seen uprising in the star duels represented, Wu Xinjie vaguely had an ominous premonition. But now with Su Xing's currently superb star general formation, even if in the future they fell out with Qingxi, they had no need to fear. Compared to Song Jiang's uprising, I feel that investigating why you are able to break the rules of the star duels is far more significant. Zhang Feiyu both loved and hated this. Liangshan continent's star duels had never seen such a change in its nearly 1,000 years. Perhaps because I crossed over to Liangshan, that's the reason why I don't have restrictions? How could Su Xing ever say this reason aloud? Since they knew that this generation's Song Jiang had already metamorphosed from incompetent to practically unmatched, all of the girls did not dare to neglect grasping for every second they could. With the 3 heavenly books coming closer and closer, the time they had left was already becoming short. I am Yueying, little sister's honorable name? 3. The shopkeepers, this Tai essence gold is so expensive, are they extorting us? This prehistoric material of mine was dredged from the White Tiger territory. It can be exchanged for at least several hundred billion? Humi's luxurious purple skirt trailed along the ground, accentuating her graceful figure, like a bundle of budding lotuses in the water. In her hand, she played with a white seal. She was currently passing leisurely through the treasure banquet's exchange festivities. In the sea of people, a supervoid cultivator naturally would issue a might that made all other cultivators maintain a certain distance. The treasure banquet honestly is lively. Gold Lancer Su Jingshu changed her previous indifferent attitude and showed an interested appearance. The treasure banquet is but the final banquet for Star Masters before the 3 heavenly books. Jingshu, you must pay attention, perhaps we can find an opponent you want. Her, for example. Humi wore a charming expression as she swept her eyes over the crowd. The girl wore a low-cut top and short skirt. Even in this treasure banquet where female cultivators competed fiercely against each other, that girl appeared especially eye-catching. Especially that bodice-like top. 2 pieces of cloth merely half-covered her snow-white chest, offsetting her perfectly round wonders. Every man they passed could not help but stare wide-eyed. A star general? The girl glanced at Humi. Her alluring and hazy eyes glanced back at Su Jingshu and continued to chat nonchalantly with the girl in front of her. Shall your servant greet them? Su Jingshu was eager to try. No need, this sort of thing is best left until afterwards. Humi did not want to create side issues in the treasure banquet. However, if Lin Chong is spotted, your servant shall definitely go fight her. I also happen to want to acquaint myself with the purple thunder monster, just what abilities he has. Humi's slender fingers gripped tight the seal. The crowd in front of them stirred, erupting into excited shouts. Another new prehistoric spirit treasure has ranked in the top 10. Why does this 7 feathers fan sound a bit familiar? Could it be that prehistoric spirit treasure created from the plumage of the vermilion bird, clinging heavenly vermilion jian, fire phoenixes, burning wan, sun golden bird, 7 types of fire category divine bird? Some divine birds are already extinct. Should these 7 feathers not already have disappeared? Right, this 7 feathers fan is very awesome. Legend says that several dozen years earlier, a counterfeit Karma Fire fan was able to rank 8th on the Spirit Ceiling list. Never expected it would surprisingly actually appear. This treasure banquet is interesting. Humu wrinkled her brow and looked at the Spirit Ceiling list. She never expected that in the mere 2 days of the treasure banquet, the top 10 of the Spirit Ceiling list would surprisingly have earth-shattering changes. 3 never-before-seen prehistoric spirit treasure had appeared. The first was still the Supreme Ultimate Diagram, the second was the 5 Dragons Lantern, the third was the 3 Clarities Banner, the fourth was the Empress 2 Earth Book, the fifth was the Boundless Bell, the sixth was the 7 Feathers Fan, the seventh was the 4 Symbols Seal, the eighth was the 6 Paths Plate. The originally ranked 4th 6 Paths Plate had unexpectedly fallen to 8th. 5 Dragons Lantern, Empress 2 Earth Book, 7 Feathers Fan, Humi muttered. No wonder the purple thunder monster can move through the 4 territories unhindered. Never expected him to have spirit treasures so defiant of the natural order on his person. Gently grunting, Humi extended her hand and sent in several rays of divine intent. The spirit ceiling list rippled. The black turtle seal was ranked 16th. Look quickly, there is another new prehistoric spirit treasure. Black turtle seal, a pity it is only 16th. All of the cultivators felt pity. This black turtle seal is actually quite powerful. Humi's eyes glinted. She never expected the black turtle seal to place in the top 16. That purple thunder monster honestly had assets. These never-before-seen prehistoric spirit treasures were each formidable. However, no matter what, they will not compare to the supreme ultimate diagram. Su Jingshu yawned. Yes. Humi slightly smiled. Elder Sister Chuha, our yin-yang twin swords have been displaced from the spirit sealing list's top 10 by the dual modes ruler. Sikong Dangyo worriedly said. This generation's never-before-seen prehistoric spirit treasures truly are innumerable. Does that have something to do with the purple thunder monster? Sikong Chuha was more deliberate than her younger sister. Her younger sister looked only at rankings, yet she saw a bit of danger from that. Elder sister, we must quickly increase the ranking of the yin-yang twin swords. Sikong Dangyo was impulsive and unresigned. The spirit sealing list ranking was only a reference, but she was vain. The higher the rank of the spirit treasure at hand always filled a cultivator with indescribable self-confidence. This was also why cultivators would be so willing to enter. Do not do this. Sikong Chuha was indifferent, aloof. Elder sister. The yin-yang twin swords was previously entered into the spirit sealing list by a super void stage cultivator. Our cultivation is merely supercluster late stage, far from comparison to our seniors. Testing now will only rank even lower. Sikong Chuha said. Sikong Dangyo was unconvinced. We sisters are of one mind, we can definitely make the yin-yang twin swords even stronger. Unable to overcome her younger sister's obstinance, Sikong Chuha followed her along as she herself did not care at all for the spirit sealing list ranking. The two girls simultaneously sent in the yin-yang twin swords' divine intent. The entire plaza was first stunned, then they immediately burst into uproarious laughter. As Sikong Chuha foresaw, the yin-yang twin swords fell directly from 11th place to more than 30. Shit! Sikong Dangyo was dumbstruck. Sikong Chuha rolled her eyes. We sisters have one mind. Although we can allow the yin-yang twin swords to be even more powerful, the spirit sealing list looks at a cultivator's cultivation and powers in its evaluation. Super void stage and supercluster stage have a disparity like that of heaven and earth. But more than 30 is already considered pretty good. It angers me to death. Dangyo grieved, heartbroken. Wei Ronxin and Shan Menger looked at each other and helplessly shrugged. Do not mind this kind of trifle. The lower the ranking, the more careless the opponent will be in future star duels, which is even better. Sikong Chuha slightly smiled, happy instead of bitter. Now, let us immediately go gather materials for the Heaven-Earth shears. Once we refine the Heaven-Earth shears, we sisters inevitably can rise above the others. I understand, elder sister. Shiyu. Zhang Feiyu's expression was ice-cold as she looked at the spirit sealing list. The three big words, Black Turtle Seal, cut painfully into Shiyu's heart like a sharp dagger. Has that Humi also come? Shiyu's face was covered in a layer of frost. The black turtle seal that Su Xing gifted her had been stolen, making the water illusion fairy brood deeply. She treated the black turtle seal that Su Xing had gifted her the first time as an engagement item, something to particularly treasure. She did not expect that after only just receiving it that it would be stolen. Although Su Xing was indifferent, Shiyu felt this was a disgrace. Her heart was in incomparable suffering, unable to be resolved. There she is. Zhang Feiyu spotted the young woman in a purple skirt. The super void female cultivator's additional stunning beauty was very eye-catching in the crowd. Let us go. Shiyu grit her teeth, her eyes spouting flames, as the pair walked towards Humi. Humi curiously watched the girl in front of her. After a while, she slightly smiled and sighed. So it is you. That purple thunder monster truly is very skilled. In such a short time, he has surprisingly reached super void from supercluster middle stage. This truly is unsurpassed. The young woman before her wore a white palace dress. Nevertheless, its simple elegance had an additional mundane aspect. The wide sleeves trailed behind her, graceful and luxurious. Her glossy black hair was bound simply in a flying immortal bun. Several large and round pearls decorated her hair, making the black bun appear elegant and even more bright. Her beautiful eyes overflowed with splendor, and her red lips rippled with a sneer. "Who me, fight your servant once more." Shiyu coldly glared at the seal Humi played around with in her hand. Humi could see through her thoughts. She gently said, "It is reasonable to say that as you are the Purple Thunder Monster's exclusive property, you are his partner. Mir should take this opportunity to split you from him, to destroy one of his arms." The topic then changed. "A pity that this has ruined my mood for the treasure banquet, I decline." Shiyu did not expect her to say this. "Hey, don't tell me you're afraid." "What now? The Azure Dragon Territory's Star Masters are all cowards." Zhang Feiyu jeered. "Little me, this little sister is truly noisy." Su Jingshu yawned. She actually did not view the boatman as an opponent. "Do you want this black turtle seal back?" Humi toyed with the black turtle seal. She craftily said, "How about this then? Let us compete at the Crystal Dragon Palace's training field. If you wind, I shall return this black turtle seal to you. If you lose, little me shall not make things difficult for you. You only need to inform you why you are so willing to believe in the Purple Thunder Monster, and if I refuse..." Shiyu coldly asked, "You were the one who came looking for little me in the first place. Does it matter to me whether you agree or refuse?" Humi smiled and said, "How about right now?" Zhang Feiyu clenched her fist. The Crystal Dragon Palace had the connecting heaven-ocean settling pearls as protection. If a star duel actually occurred here, then it would inevitably alarm the whole place as well as implicate Su Xing. Shiyu did not want to create side issues at such a critical juncture. In actuality, the Water Illusion Fairy knew that although she was Super Void stage, that had only been a few days prior. She was a bit inferior to Humi, and Gold Lancer Su Ning's hook spear technique was absolute. The golden armor she had inherited was even more famous in Liangshan. Even some top-notch star weapons were unable to contend against it. If they actually battled, Shiyu had no chances of victory. Thinking quickly, Shiyu made her decision. "Fine. Training Palace." Humi in purple clothes and Shiyu faced one another. Guardian Star Gold Lancer Su Ning put away her indolent attitude. She took several steps forward, waved her hand, and an enchanting golden lance appeared in her hand. There were 4 faintly visible stars twinkling, the golden hooked soul-snatching lance. Zhang Feiyu snorted and brought out the blazing Fish King saber. "Do not hold back, do not let Jingshu feel bored." Su Jingshu languidly stretched. "I, Feiyu, will make you climax." The boatman shouted, suddenly attacking. "Ah!" The golden-hooked soul-snatching lance caught Zhang Feiyu's blazing saber, and then she swept, shaking the spear. Zhang Feiyu was repelled several paces. Su Jingshu's spearmanship was eerie, impossible to defend against. Each thrust made Zhang Feiyu's guard abnormally awkward, deeply irritating the boatman. The widely maneuvering blazing saber was completely useless. Infuriated, her palm shook. The blazing Fish King saber shook out a clear rotation. Zhang Feiyu gripped the saber and used full power to attack with her yellow rank saber technique Fish Dragon Roaming Fire. A fire dragon like a golden fish rolled out from the saber. Su Ning caught it with her lance and vertically slashed downwards, letting the fish fire burn her body without reacting at all. The flames dispersed, and her figure charged out. A thrust directly penetrated Zhang Feiyu's chest. The boatman was alarmed that one of her ribs had been broken. Zhang Feiyu was a risk-taker, not retreating but advancing. However, Su Ning was a different sort of character. Comparing martial arts, she was also superior. Her shoulders suddenly drew close, and a pressure like that of a mountain pressed on the boatman. Zhang Feiyu's lungs seemed to be ripped apart in pain, and she slid back several dozen meters, gold and stone splitter. Su Ning gripped her spear, and a ray of blinding gold light suddenly tore apart Zhang Feiyu's line of sight. Meanwhile, Shiyu was not idle. Knowing that in terms of star generals, it was probably unfavorable for Zhang Feiyu to face Su Ning, she immediately launched an attack on Humi. So long as she could injure Humi, Su Ning would inevitably also be harmed. The 2 first raised flying swords, however, the flying swords Humi forged were the Purple Firmament Immortal Palace's renowned Purple Firmament Sword chant. The sword chant activated, and a multicolored mist descended like a mountain. Shiyu's sword chant could not compare at all. She had returned her sky-clinging spiritual distribution banner to the sect after leaving it. She actually had the dual modes ruler as a protective artifact, but she had been suppressed by flying swords into complete defeat mere moments in. Shiyu promptly activated her power, like illusion, like reality soul technique. 100 flying swords manifested a multitude of sword shadows in the sky, surprisingly becoming innumerable, just like a black cloud. The black cloud pressed down on the city, only then inhibiting the purple firmament swords. Humi remained unimpressed. She fiddled with the black turtle seal in her white hands. The black turtle seal immediately smashed towards Shiyu. "This seal shall be returned to you, be sure to catch it properly." The black turtle seal suddenly magnified, and its whole body radiated black and white light. The crystalline seal faintly had minute talisman script moving about, manifesting the black turtle true spirit. When a supervoid cultivator activated the magic weapon, it naturally was not weak. Before Humi had used full power, the drilling field had been rocked by the black turtle seal, about to collapse. The pressure pushed down, but Shiyu did not shrink back. Secretly chanting, 2 rays of light flew out from her sleeves, assuming the form of yin and yang to firmly resist the black turtle seal's pressure. Shiyu urged on her supervoid star energy, attempting to take the black turtle seal. Dual modes ruler? Humi was astonished. That purple thunder monster truly is not unkind to you, to surprisingly give this level of spirit treasure to you? Little me truly is more and more curious about him. As she said this, Humi sent star energy into the black turtle seal. The black turtle seal briefly shuddered and let out a long cry. That seal imprint uttered an air-shattering voice. The 3 zhang-sized seal carried this thundering power. The dual modes ruler's form struck the black turtle seal like whips, releasing cracking sounds. The hull tottered on the edge of collapse, with cracks becoming more numerous. Humi took back the black turtle seal and retreated a step, her expression not as relaxed as before. "If this continues, the Crystal Dragon Palace will expel us." Her figure flashed, and Gold Lancer Su Ning slowly returned to her side. Zhang Feiyu was forcing herself up, extremely exhausted. The victor was clear. "It appears to be our victory." A slight grin appeared on Humi's lips. "Who says?" Zhang Feiyu was indignant and forced herself to stand up. Just at this moment, a mildly sweet and beautiful voice entered the hall, making people appear intoxicated. "Bullying a water general is not skillful. Guardian Star Gold Lancer Su Ning, fight me, how about it?" Everyone turned their gazes. A beautiful girl had appeared in the hall at some point in time. Her haze-shaded clothes, short cloak, and 2 lotus leaf-like pieces of cloth covered her chest, half exposing her snow-white roundness. Her deep cleavage was especially prominent, and in the middle hung a brilliant piece of colored glass. Below her snow-white belly was a 100-pleat short skirt, with gilded edges and flowery embroidery. Her white legs were encased in knee-high black stockings. Clad in multicolored boots, each of her steps seemed to tread on clouds, extremely gorgeous. The girl's appearance was sweet, her bright eyes pleasant. Perhaps she had drunk some wine, but her white and fair skin was dyed with an intoxicated pink. Even her expression carried traces of drunkenness, and her voice was like a fine wine, intoxicating. She honestly was slightly tipsy and flushed, brushing her peach blossom red cheeks with a rippling smile. Humu recognized the young woman as the one that caught her attention earlier. As expected, she was a star general. "Where did you pop out from?" "I, Feiyu, have not played enough." Zhang Feiyu shouted. That was an inconceivable scene. The multicolored light flashed, and the young woman already appeared in front of Zhang Feiyu. Her speed was so fast it left Zhang Feiyu dumbstruck. "If you are not happy, then both of you can come together." The young woman knocked Zhang Feiyu back with one strike. Her right hand clenched, and a weapon of multicolored light entered her hand. Humi and Shiyu froze. They did not know if the woman before them was actually drunk or too arrogant to surprisingly face the 4 of them. The next instant, Su Ning's desire for battle was aroused. Laughing, the golden-hooked soul-snatching spear attacked. The girl's body techniques were wonderful. Her hand moved and knocked Su Jingshu away with one strike. I hear that Guardian Star Gold Lancer Su Ning has another unrivaled armor star weapon, Goose Feather Ring Gold Armor. How about you allow me to experience it? What an arrogant star general! Humi sneered and suddenly attacked. Zhang Feiyu was red-faced with anger. She raised the blazing Fish King saber to attack from behind. The girl practically was trapped on all sides, yet she remained easygoing, unhurried as she consecutively defended against the three women. Her left hand then manifested a segmented staff weapon, attacking all sides with great dexterity, surprisingly suppressing Su Ning and the others' assault. I forgot to introduce myself. I am Yueying. Little sister, speak your true name? Star position, Speed Star Star name, Dai Zong nickname, Magic Traveler true name, Dai Xingyue rank, 20th star weapon, Star Chasing Moon Treading Armored Horse, 2 star, /Sky Confusing Heart Bell, not manifested, Star Beast, Divine Hawk Realm, Matchless 3rd stage innate skill, Magic Traveling Array 5 elements, Earth Yellow rank special move, Sun Travels Thousandly Dark rank special move, Flying Smoke Scattering Stars Earth rank special move, Sun Pursuit current status, Uprising. Cannot be conquered, detailed materials. Han Bing currently stood at the top of one of the Crystal Dragon Palace's halls overlooking the ant-like market. At the same time, the birth treasure outline opened before her, endlessly scanning women in the crowd who appeared especially beautiful. If her luck was not bad, she had a good probability to encounter a star general. Using this method, a list of names of star generals had appeared in her birth treasure outline. Of course, understanding the material of star generals was only second. The most important thing was for Han Bing to search for a second star general to sign a contract with for her twin stars button. But when she spotted the record of Dai Zong, Han Bing's ice-like indifferent expression wrinkled its brow. Uprising? What kind of contract is this? Ling Feishue gasped, confused. The taciturn woman Xen Lao beside Han Bing pursed her lips, clearly at a loss. Imperial sister, do you know what uprising is? Ling Feishue asked the golden long-skirted woman beside Xen Lao. The girl had wavy golden hair and had a seemingly solemn complexion. She looked displeased and shook her head. I heard that Song Jiang's innate skill is uprising. Could it be this? Han Bing said in a low voice. Impossible, there has never been this sort of thing before. Ling Feishue flatly denied it. Perhaps it is the effect of a magic weapon like the Twin Stars button? Thinking about, it could only be this. Imperial sister, you must remember well little sister's whereabouts. When there is a chance, pay her a visit and we will know then. The golden-haired girl nodded, concentrating on Dai Xingyue. A third, bright golden eyes suddenly opened on her spotlessly white forehead. After a long while, it then closed. Han Bing nodded. Since she could not be conquered, it was completely useless. Not thinking about this anymore, she continued to scan with the birth treasure outline. At this time, the birth treasure outline displayed new information. Han Bing looked. Immediately, she was interested. Hero star Little Li Guang Hua Rong has comprehended her Earth rank technique. Liked it? For her to surprisingly comprehend Earth rank, what a formidable elder sister. Ling Feishue enviously said. To comprehend Earth rank at this stage was not odd at all, just like how the Dai Xingyue a moment ago was in possession of an Earth rank technique, but the significance of a top-notch Heavenly Star's Earth rank was not the same. Their martial arts were powerful, and their Heaven, Earth, Dark, Yellow techniques were also not easy to comprehend. Han Bing, if you can contract the Hero Star, that would be great. Ling Feishue licked her lips. Han Bing was indeterminately gloomy. How could she not be excited about that graceful woman? But she was very clear that Hero Star Little Li Guang and the White Tiger territory had a very poor relationship, and she kept close to that majestic star Lin Chong. Rumors said that she had a relationship with the Purple Thunder Monster. To contract with her was more difficult than climbing the sky, but Han Bing wanted to try. Wait until grandfather returns, then we shall see. Going now is only laughable. Xen Lao finally spoke, her voice heavy and hoarse, but it was exceptionally unrefusable. To defeat the purple thunder monster, we indeed can only wait until grandfather. Han Bing took a deep breath, retracting her gaze from Hua Wanyue. Can that old man obtain along the river during Qingming, now that he has gone to the Great Liang Imperial Palace? Ling Feishu asked. I hear that Emperor Liang is very powerful. Emperor Liang ought to be rushing to attend the treasure banquet. Grandfather probably will not encounter him. The others are not even grandfather's opponent. Right now, grandfather should have already taken that thing at this time. Han Bing's eyes narrowed, flashing a slight chill. She showed a derisive detached expression as she gazed at the bubbling tide of people in the Crystal Dragon Palace. Great Liang Imperial Palace, a vast expanse of colored glass, jade platforms and rooms, layered row upon row. If one looked carefully from above on a flying sword, they would discover that the Great Liang Imperial Palace's structure was elaborate, with a vaguely comprehensible pattern. At the Great Liang Imperial Palace, there was also a tall tower linked with iron chains. This tall tower surrounding Ten Li had no other structures, only 8 palace doors. On the giant 8, bucket-like chain links, there were faint and cryptic talisman script. With each attack, the chains rattled. What the 8-9 true evil smiting chains trapped was not a demon beast or a devil, rather, it was a scroll. This scroll slightly unraveled. The portrait depicted mountains and rivers, a pleasant country scene, as if it could leap out of the painting. The scroll's surroundings were full of golden mist, as if there was an actual devouring the clouds and rolling the moon, too wonderful for words. If an intruder invaded, the 8 gates would firmly activate an array, making it difficult for even an entire army to breach. This platform was the Great Liang's Demon's Ceiling Platform. Amazing, so this is the Demon's Ceiling Platform, the 8 gates heaven mixing array. The chi of the ley line has also been added into the 9 true evil smiting chains. No wonder that along the river during Qingming can suppress prehistoric demons. Song Feng's face showed astonishment as he looked at the Demon's Ceiling Platform. Now is the perfect time for us, Xiang Chenxing said in a low voice. Grandfather Li's eyes were closed as he leisurely walked, entering the 8 gates heaven mixing array. Xiang Chenxing and Song Feng did not have grandfather's strength and could only defend the outside. A moment later, cultivators already flew out of the Great Liang Imperial Palace. Who goes there, to unexpectedly dare charge into the demon-suppressing pagoda? A tall and elegant man with a face like jade sternly said. In his hand was a banner that shook, releasing mechanism beasts. You are the Great Liang State Scholar Mo Shangxian? We hear that you are a descendant of the Mo clan. Perfect, there is something we have need of you for. Song Feng smiled. Mo Shangxian sneered. Several dozen cultivators controlled their sword chants to form a sword array. Suddenly, several dozen shadows quickly shot over. Those black shadows shuttled back and forth, ripping apart space. The black lights ran through them, directly piercing their hearts. Their defensive magic weapons were torn to shreds like paper. The cultivators died suddenly. A girl in black clothes appeared out of thin air, her fingers pinching shadowy flying daggers. Hey, this place has nothing for you, so do not disturb. Nongmei interrupted. Seeing her attack was extremely fast, her arms flung, and the shadow flying daggers flew off with practically no traces. The heads of several dozen supercluster cultivators were run through in succession. Xiang Chenxing's Star General Little Conqueror Zhou Xun's flowing water-green depths spear was also tyrannical. Yellow spear technique, green soldier slash, practically was invincible. How could these supercluster cultivators contend against a Star General's 4-star destined weapon attack? Each and every one of them lacked the power to fight back. Star Masters, why must you provoke trouble? Mo Shangxian wrinkled his brow. A supercluster stage giant ape puppet blocked in front of him. We only want to borrow the along the river during Qingming. Lord State Scholar, it would be better to be generous? Song Feng said amicably. Your servant upholds His Majesty's orders. How can I let you take it away? Mo Shangxian produced another puppet banner. This was a white tiger puppet. Its cultivation was unexpectedly equivalent to Super Void Stage. Super Void Stage puppet, truly extravagant. Song Feng sighed elegantly, yet his expression was not as carefree as before. He flipped through his bag. This bag twinkled with green light, incessantly agitated. He pointed the bag at Mo Shangxian. The bag's mouth opened, and suddenly, a squall blew out. Dust and stone flew about, and an enormous storm blew the cultivators into disarray, their defenses in shambles. This treasure was known as the Cool Breeze Bag, Song Feng's life-cast magic weapon. The demon beasts of the White Tiger mostly had a life-cast magic weapon. Because it was linked with their own mind, it was more powerful than typical magic weapons. However, forging a life-cast magic weapon meant they could not cultivate life-cast flying swords. Although it was called the Cool Breeze Bag, it nevertheless could unleash an unstoppable storm. The area in a range of 10 li was lifted by the gale. The wind was like a blade, tearing reinforced armor to shreds in an instant. Some cultivators of high cultivation barely withstood it, but following Song Feng's exertion, these cultivators immediately felt powerful pressure. Super Void Cultivator? Everyone was shocked. Nongmei and Zhou Zhiyun seized this chance to attack. Go! Mo Shangxian shouted. Several large puppets were summoned in succession, but the two Star Masters in front of them were far more powerful than they had imagined. The large and sturdy man would not lose to a Star General in battle. He wielded a large staff and slaughtered the puppets. Although that Song Feng appeared carefree, the magic weapon made everyone face a great enemy. Just who are you? Mo Xiangshan watched the shaking demon suppressing Pagoda's 8 gates, and his tone chilled. Shut up, courting death. Zhou Zhiyun shouted. Her dark rank spear technique green spear tip passing through directly broke Mo Shangxian's guardsmen puppets. The Mo clan puppets were superb, but their powerful defenses broke with a single strike. The little conqueror prepared to kill this man to end the Super Void puppet's trouble. Mo Shangxian, the great Liang state scholar, evaded with precise timing. Immediately afterwards, he bit open his fingertip, spraying his blood into the air. The puppet glowed a complete red, and it immediately pressed the attack. At this time, the great Liang dynasty's hundreds of cultivators were currently pouring here endlessly to offer aid. Every sort of magic weapon and flying swords heralded a combatant, pushing back and forth in the storm, a fierce battle. Just at this moment, they heard a whinny approach. That neigh was odd, obviously 1,000 li away a moment ago, but now it was apparently already in front of them. Zhiyun, careful. Song Feng's divine intent moved, and he hastily shouted. But he was already too late. Little conqueror Zhou Zhiyun sensed danger, but her foe's speed was honestly too swift. As if suddenly rushing over completely without any preparations to react, a powerful and scorching momentum slammed into Zhou Zhiyun like a tidal wave. Astonishingly, the girl's powerful star energy could not endure this one strike. She vomited blood. Immediately afterwards, she was too late to raise her spear and fight back. A divine steed of hooves wreathed in flame, but a whole body of ice and snow was in front of her. Sitting on the horse, a woman laughed just like a great general leading an assault. Her hand raised and slashed with an axe, cutting into Zhou Zhiyun's body. The pitiful little conqueror Zhou Zhiyun was completely unprepared. First, she was knocked asunder by that horse, and then she was hacked by an axe. If it was not for a Star General's indestructible body, this powerful and heavy blow would have absolutely split Zhou Zhiyun's body in two. Even so, Zhou Zhiyun cried out in pain. She lifted her head to look at the general on the horse and the scorching axe head. Her pupils shrunk. Immediately, her body disappeared, falling into the star nest. Xiang Qinxing's stiff face malevolently warped as he stared at the newcomer. Impatient vanguard is here. Little sisters, prepare to die. The woman on the horse restlessly shouted. This king thought to see imperial sister, but this king never imagined to encounter two Star Masters who do not know they are dead breaking into the Forbidden Palace. As Father Emperor is not present, allow this king to pass judgment on Father's behalf. A heroic man standing on a fiery flying sword appeared, his attitude arrogant. He was Zhao Heng. Zhao Heng brought the heavenly star impatient vanguard, relying on her charge innate skill to instantly dispatch Zhou Zihian, immediately boosting the morale of the cultivators. Your Highness Heng, why are you? Emo Shangshin contrarily wrinkled his brow. You still do not run? Zhao Heng haughtily said. Two non-heavenly star masters were breaking into the imperial palace, and with so many cultivators and the national scholars' assistants, Zhao Heng already planned to destroy these two star masters here. Afterwards, Father Emperor would inevitably recognize him. National scholar, Qing, today, we shall let these short-sighted fools know of the great Liang's might. Zhao Heng laughed. Zhao Heng and Suo Qingxuang broke through in a spurt of energy. The heavenly star marshal general took action, and Song Feng and Xiang Qinxing immediately fell to a disadvantage. Mo Shangshin could not help but feel that this Maiden Mountain star generals were indeed unequaled in the words when he saw this scene, for only one impatient vanguard to render them an advantage. Mo Shangshin prepared to rally a group. Just at this moment, the demon's ceiling platform boomed and rocked. The 9 true evil smiting chains and the 8 gates broke one after another, shattering. An astral thunder descended from the sky, striking directly onto the complacent Zhao Heng. His protective magic treasures disintegrated, and Zhao Heng fell. Your Highness! Suo Qingxuang lost the color in her face. Han Yen isn't here yet? Su Xing lifted his head to look at the parting waves. Several dozen men and women dressed in the robes of true immortal hall had arrived. Their leader was a super-void middle-stage cultivator wearing a grave and stern expression. Among these people, Su Xing did not see Zhao Hanyan's figure. With the Ling Yen princess super-void cultivator, perhaps she already does not follow the comings and goings of her sect. Wu Xinjie surmised. Because star masters relying on the star duels cultivated too quickly, their ascent into super-void stage often would let them act as they pleased and to not necessarily follow their sect as they had before. Is that so? Su Xing's brow deeply creased. The intertwined branch sword's light was increasingly dim, and his heart was somewhat ill at ease. I shall go ask for young lord. A moment later, Wu Xinjie returned. What is it? Did you find anything? They say that the Ling Yen princess has gone to Kunlun to refine the 1,000-year tears and has yet to return to the sect. Wu Xinjie muttered. Perhaps the Ling Yen princess has found a way to rescind the intertwined contract? Lin Yingmei suddenly said. Su Xing was stunned. He nodded and felt this was very logical, concerned yet confused. With Zhao Hanyan's cultivation and the 5 tiger generals Dong Junqing at her side, he really did not need to worry too much. That Kunlun was known as an immortal mountain, with the Liangshan continent's top-notch medicine refinement master Queen Mother of Kunlun. Perhaps there really was some elixir involved, but even this would not explain the intertwined branch sword's abnormality. That's good. I'm currently on the receiving end of Maiden Mountain's retaliation. This will avoid implicating her. Wu Xinjie and Lin Yingmei glanced at each other. The knowledge star covered her grin. Young lord truly keeps the Ling Yen princess on his mind, yet that steadfast star is not one bit grateful at all. Men with drooling gazes ogled at Hunyangzi. That water-blue figure was wonderful and graceful. Even the most clear-hearted and refined cultivators could not help but let their imaginations run wild. However, the girl's icy golden pupils were too piercing and cold, making all cultivators that had these thoughts stare from afar. Bright star 10 feet of blue accompanied Tang Lianxin as she browsed the Heaven East district. Solitary star Tang Lianxin's personality was reclusive, not fond of speaking. The atmosphere between them was evidently somewhat silent, so much so that the somewhat reticent Hunyangzi did not feel uncomfortable at all. Does elder sister have anything she wants Lianxin to forge? Tang Lianxin selected a few spirit jades and stones, suddenly turning her head back to ask. Hunyangzi was currently monitoring every movement in her surroundings. When she heard the question, she did not respond immediately but blinked. No need. Hunyangzi shook her head. I already have these feelings, lasso. There is no need for anything else. The bright star knew that Tang Lianxin was forging defensive astral treasures for the sisters, and this task was not easy. Tang Lianxin did not answer. In the Heavenly East District, after having seen hundreds of shops, a gambling stone pavilion field drew Tang Lianxin's interest. The so-called gambling stone was also known as the jade in the stone. This kind of jade appeared ordinary on the outside, but its inside had condensed outstanding essence qi. The spiritual power of the extracted jade was abundant, and using it to forge magic weapons and the like was much better than using ordinary stones. Tang Lianxin was always very curious about the gambling stone. Seeing that the gambling stone pavilion had flocks of people coming and going, pleasantly surprised shouts occasionally rang out from within. Pondering for a moment, she then entered the gambling stone pavilion with Hun Yangzi. Entering the narrow pathway, the interior suddenly opened up to an area with standing room only. Countless cultivators all stared intently at the gambling stone on the table. This gambling stone pavilion allowed free trade. Some cultivators that wished to strike fortune would put in all their might here. A young woman was currently sitting on a chair on the platform, her expression arrogant. Upon seeing her, Tang Lianxin's pupils shrunk. That girl was none other than jade-armed craftsman Jin Daijian. 100 cultivators were using careful observation on that gambling stone. Among them was no lack of supercluster-level ancestors. Tang Lianxin stood in a corner, coldly watching. Although she did not have an innate skill the level of Jin Daijian's jade carving, her tool refinement ability could allow her to more or less understand spirit stones and the like. The gambling stone was an ashen gray suffused with pure white. It was approximately 30 kilograms, the shell full of white snowflakes. Under the light, the stone's whole body was like snow, translucent. Tang Lianxin's eyes watched the stone revolve, and her heart gradually grew interested. The gambling stone was dead silent. Each and every cultivator was deeply pondering. Jin Qiongyu indifferently drank tea and said, "Whoever still wants to gamble, start bidding." The hall shifted. Immediately, someone tested the waters, 400 million. As if Jin Qionyu's air of arrogance could cade. She hinted at them to continue bidding. Jade in the stone was in of itself an object worthy of collecting. The spiritual jade inside was priceless, even if only finger-sized. However, nobody could discern just whether or not a stone actually had spirit jade within. Some jades in the stone appeared remarkable, but extracting the interior revealed emptiness or even a bit of spirit qi jade, which was an enormous loss. The people below began whispering to one another. This item was quite good. To say nothing of its ample power, just that body full of snow was worth more than 400 million. This was too far from Jin Qionyu's price. The gambling stone pavilion was full of every sort of person, including scattered cultivators from the 3 territories. Other than those somewhat snooping about the jade in the stone, the gambling stone itself was extremely provocative. The price steadily grew higher. In moments, it was already close to 5 billion, somewhat surprising even Hun Yangzi. At such a high price, Jin Qiongyu still was aloof with that intent to not sell. She sneered, "This jade in the stone is practically a treasure. Everyone knows the worth of jade with such strong spiritual power. Give it to a cultivator to refine, and it will be enough to allow a supercluster cultivator to jump to supervoid, but these bids are too unreasonable." Saying this, Jin Qiongyu brought out her dragon carving hammer. She gently struck on a flower of snow white, filling the area with blue and green light. Jin Qiongyu clapped her hands and said, "Is there any use in probing further? This price will not last." Skillful star jade-armed craftsman. All the cultivators recognized the star weapon dragon carving hammer. The whole area exploded as each cultivator looked at one another. If this stone fully unraveled its power, it would be worth at least 100 billion. As far as a cultivator at the current stage was concerned, it was even more priceless. Immediately, someone yelled, 10 billion. Jin Qionyu's serious expression paid no heed. The atmosphere was fervent as another shouted a higher price, 20 billion, 30 billion, 50 billion. The jade in the stone flew up as if it had grown wings. Constantly shouting 60 billion, it was supercluster cultivator with significant fortune and backing that dared call out. "Is this stone worth so much money?" Hun Yangzi was in disbelief. "She is very smart." Tang Lianxin spat out these 4 words, as if she was too stingy to say another word. Hunyangzi was bright and immediately understood what Tang Lianxin meant by smart. Skillful star Jin Qiongyu first revealed her star weapon to display her identity. The jade-armed craftsman was known by all in Liangshan. Although she was not a martial general, that jade refinement innate skill far outclassed any and all cultivators. An expert naturally acted without being gentle. By doing so, this jade in the stone's worth inflated significantly. Everyone wanted to gamble. Jade-armed craftsman, this 50 billion is already very high. Just how much more do you want? A supercluster ancestor looked at her and slowly said, growing impatient. Jin Qiongyu had a cold expression. If you want the gambling stone, then you must be daring. Otherwise, you will let a good item slip away. Even good luck will be to no avail. Actually, this stone is practically a perfect treasure. What does 50 billion count for to a cultivator if you reach supervoid cultivation? The whole place became deathly silent. Even the supercluster ancestor was in bitter contemplation. Shall we do something for dear husband? Hunyangzi furrowed her brow. Jin Qiongyu was clearly exploiting this jade in the stone to earn a profit for star weapon upgrade assets. Leaders Star Qingxi's uprising had several including Jin Qiongyu. Their numbers were not few, and to maintain the upgrades to so many star weapons was a very difficult task. There was no choice but to say that this was actually a good idea. But the leader star was a future enemy. Hunyangzi did not want to simply watch Jin Qiongyu prevail. Lianxin should do something for elder brother too. Tang Lianxin thought. At this moment, the jade in the stone's price had already reached 70 billion. However, Jin Qiongyu did not like any of the magic weapons her counterparts used to barter, always showing now expression. The Lu Fang beside her already was impatient and surreptitiously hinted to Jin Qiongyu to finish the transaction and be done with this place. Just at this moment, an ice-cold sentence came into the world. This jade in the stone is worthless. The entire place fell silent. This sentence could be said to be grating against this astronomical number. Everyone followed the voice to see Tang Lianxin. Jin Qiongyu also spotted the solitary star. With a chill contained in her eyes, she pursed her lips and scoffed. You naturally feel it is worthless since you are unable to pay. The jade-armed craftsman's words made everyone in the hall laugh. Tang Lianxin was unfazed. Jade-armed craftsman, you have had your moment. I feel that selling this for 100 million is a big enough profit. If you do not believe me, then open the stone. Only worth 100 million? Even those snowflakes covering the stone would be worth more than this price. Forget the skepticism of those cultivators, even Jin Qiongyu herself jeered. An amateur is an amateur. Jin Qiongyu was always hostile towards Su Xing. She was still brooding over that matter from back then in Evil Smiting Hall, and she did not have a favorable impression of the solitary star at all. Sneering, if she could not redeem face, then even a gambling stone worth 10 billion would immediately become as worthless as Tang Lianxin said. Thus, Jin Qiongyu evilly said, playing expert in front of me, you are too inexperienced. If opening it is not worth this price, what will you give in exchange to everyone here today? Do not be impulsive. Tang Lianxin was still very apathetic. I did not ask you to open it at all. To leave the price at 50 billion is not profitable, why not sell at 100 million? These words were even more malicious, forcing Jin Qiongyu into a dead end. Jin Qiongyu stared as if her throat had been lodged with a fishbone. She heaved for a while and then inwardly cursed, birds of a feather really do flock together. Little sister has accompanied an arrogant man and is herself unaware of the immensity of heaven and earth. Have you any answer? Everyone could then see from their relation that the two were star generals, already hostile to one another. Tang Lianxin said, if you truly want to gamble, Lianxin will naturally oblige you. Saying this, her fingers snapped, and several items appeared on the table. Everyone looked and drew in a breath. Magic weapons, rare books, spirit stones, spirit medicines, and more, which were equivalent to 10 billion more or less. 10 billion, do you dare bet? Jin Qiongyu gazed at Tang Lianxin and sneered, you are so certain about this? She blinked her crafty eyes and hesitated for a bit, coldly saying, I shall give you a chance. So long as you apologize to everyone here, There is still time for regret. Would your man agree to 10 billion? Tang Lianxin shook her head. Jin Qiongyu, do you actually not know? The white scales that rock produces and the spirit jade obtained are not the same. Could it be you are unable to see that this is white bone flower? Everyone was startled. White bone flower, that is, the snow-white layer of scales on the jade in the stone's surface. It had the mien of an alluring woman, calling you to love it dearly. It endeared you to treat it as the real thing, yet it would sinisterly become a double-edged sword, and with a kacha, you would die a ghastly death in pieces. 2. Jin Qiongyu was indefinitely gloomy, utterly silent. All of the cultivators were startled to hear her words and nervously eyed the pair. Having reached this juncture, Jin Qiongyu could not possibly shrink back. If she did not cut it open, she would lose even more wretchedly. The stone could not be sold anymore anyway, and she was even accused of swindling. The girl's expression was considerably brilliant. Jin Qiongyu seemed to have been forced onto the gallows by Tang Lianxin. She grit her teeth as she took up the stone and struck it with her dragon-carving hammer, phoenix engraving nail. With a crisp bang, suddenly, as if she had hammered into a person's head, white paste splattered. The jade in the stone cracked. Hammer after hammer, as if pounding a cultivator's chest, the supercluster ancestor did not even dare breathe. Finally, they heard a guanglang, 3, and the jade in the stones outside shattered. The inside was a clump of dust. Suddenly, the hall was absolutely silent. A hollow jade in the stone. Instantly, 50 billion was compensated. Jin Qionyu's expression was unsightly, as if she had already known this result, but she glared at Tang Lianxin with hatred, an expression that desired to make mincemeat of her. Consider yourself lucky. Jin Qiongyu tossed the stone, leaving. As for the bet she agreed to, she had no thoughts of fulfilling it from the start. As if she would, to give her future enemy an advantage. What a joke. She was not so stupid. Just at this moment, a gentle womanly voice came from the doorway. Jade-armed craftsman, could it be you are reaping the consequences of your own words? A beautiful woman daintily walked out. Tang Lianxin was stunned. Master! She was precisely Ju Yueka. Jin Qionyu's face sunk. She looked around at everyone present. The other cultivators did not want to join in on a Star General's dispute and merely looked on. However, each and every one of their expressions brimmed with cold detachment. Jin Qiongyu sneered, and she snapped her fingers. A pure jade containing fire yet emitting cold shot towards Tang Lianxin. It stopped in front of the girl's brow. Cold yang warm soul. Everyone was astonished. The cold yang warm soul was forged using every kind of yin-yang spirit jade. Other than being upgrade material for Heavenly Star's 7-star, it could enormously benefit divine consciousness when forged into a magic weapon. It was indestructible, but this kind of jade was extremely difficult to refine, and its value was worth more than 10 billion. My surplus shall be given to you. Jin Qiongyu flatly said. She could refine 7-star upgrade material without any worry. Glancing at Ju Yueka, Jin Qiongyu carried her hatred away and departed the gambling stone pavilion. Master, why have you come? Tang Lianxin took the cold yang warm soul and stepped forward. Worthy of the jade-armed craftsman's skillful star. The sect that can contract her will definitely achieve meteoric success. Ju Yueka muttered. She saw Tang Lianxin, and she warmly smiled. Lianxin, you truly are audacious. You surprisingly dared to bet against the skillful star. Could it be that you do not know that she is extremely proficient in spirit jade? It is precisely because of this that Lianxin did this. Tang Lianxin respectfully said. Ju Yueka did not understand. It actually was very simple. If that actually was a jade in the stone that brimmed with spiritual power, how could Jin Qiongyu bring it out for the gambling stone? More or less, she knew that was probably white bone scale, but there was still a bit of uncertainty that she had to resolve with the gambling stone. Tang Lianxin was an expert in tool refinement, perfectly knowledgeable in the refinement of arms and magic weapon materials. For this reason, rather than say she was making a hair-raising bet against Jin Qiongyu, it was better to say the solitary star had bluffed Jin Qionyu's tactic. Hearing Tang Lianxin's explanation, Zhu Yueka then noticed that the reclusive and antisocial girl was not as simple as she had imagined. Zhu Yueka swept her gaze over the crowd. Not seeing that figure that should have been following, she was very discontent. And Su Xing? Is he not together with you? Elder brother has some other matters. Tang Lianxin answered. If you encounter other Star Masters, separating like this is dangerous for you too. According to what I know, the majority of the territory's Star Masters have joined this treasure banquet. Lianxin knows. How are your preparations for the star duels? Everything is progressing smoothly. Zhu Yueka did not know just what this everything is progressing smoothly meant, but she was fully aware that Tang Lianxin and Su Xing's situation was very dangerous. With the solitary star participating in the star duels, Su Xing perhaps was facing great misfortune. Zhu Yueka was somewhat regretful. 2 days after the treasure banquet, there will be preparations to convene a major conference of the Azure Dragon Territory's Alliance of 10. All sects will be in attendance. At that time, Star Masters would also appear to discuss some star duel-related matters. As your master, I wanted to speak with you and Su Xing about the star duel situation, and see at the same time if there was anything I can help you with. This is Headmaster's intention. Many thanks to Master. Lianxin will inform Elder Brother. Then good. This lady is... Zhu Yueka spotted the stunning Hunyangzi, and her eyes flashed with a strange glint. She is... I am Lianxin's elder sister. Hunyangzi was aloof, using a vague phrasing. Zhu Yueka did not know their relationship, but she did not mind. She then specifically instructed Lianxin some matters relating to the Alliance of 10 before leaving. Xie Zhenyuan and Bing Qingxian walked on the street searching for the things they wanted. However, Xie Zhenyuan stuck out like a sore thumb. Against his chest, he carried in his arms Huoroyan, looking around as he talked and laughed with her. The eager little lowly brimmed with a brilliant smile. At first glance, how could they be Star Master and Star General? They were clearly brother and sister out to play. Bing Qingxian cast a sidelong glance at them. His forehead slightly creased, and he felt like vomiting when he saw this scene. Although this genius senior brother had contracted a trash Star General to participate in the star duels, to him, this was a very good thing, but upon recalling Xie Zhenyuan's stance about protecting his Star General, Bing Qingxian was thoroughly disgusted. Who did he think he was? Maiden Mountain's ruler? He was truly arrogant beyond belief. Although Xie Zhenyuan had now reached Supervoid stage, Bing Qingxian had the confidence he could now send this supercilious senior brother go report to King Yama and cover everything up. However, Bing Qingxian did not want to do this at all. This was not so-called sympathy for a compatriot. Bing Qingxian purely thought of how far Xie Zhenyuan could go after the 3 heavenly books, to see the sight of him wretchedly begging for mercy. His heart scoffed, yet Bing Qingxuan's outer appearance was still calm, a look of reverence for his genius senior brother. Senior brother Zhenyun, your servant remembered something else to do and will now take leave. N. Seeing Ho Ruoyan's blissful smile, Bing Qingxian had a slight destructive impulse. He put on an act and sighed. Ever since the purple thunder monster entered the world, our sect has already been put in turmoil by him alone. Several ancestral masters have died one after another. If senior brother can contract a 5 tigers, perhaps, Qingxian, you can go. Xie Zhenyuan was emotionless. Apologies. Bing Qingxian feigned sincerity, apologetically cupping his hands towards Ho Ruoyan. Ruoyan, senior brother is putting out enormous sacrifice for you. You must not disappoint senior brother. I hear Star Master and Star General can comprehend Heaven Earth Dark Yellow. Perhaps you can be a helping hand. Ruoyan will try her best. The girl softly said. Xie Zhenyuan watched Bing Qingxian leave, and his eyes had an additional sharpness. Zhenyuan. Ho Ruoyan tugged at Xie Zhenyuan's hem. She lifted her head and guiltily said, Sorry. I will protect you. Xie Zhenyuan showed a smile. He tenderly caressed Ho Ruoyan's hair. In that instant, the face of his little sister and Ho Ruoyan's overlapped, making Xie Zhenyuan briefly dazed. It was this similar face that made Xie Zhenyuan completely not hesitate to sign a star duel covenant with her the first time he saw Ho Ruoyan. This time, I will definitely protect you. Xie Zhenyuan repeated the promise he had once broken, hugging Hou Ruoyan even more tightly. Hou Ruoyan slightly hurt but was a bit moved. Bing Qingxian ingested change appearance pill to alter his facial features. After confirming no one was paying attention, Mu Qingying then emerged from the star nest. Investigative star unrestrained appeared to be like a shadowy projection, her eyes full of a gloomy chill. Xie Zhenyuan's reputation will not hinder us for much longer. For this treasure banquet, Qingying wants to first use every means to upgrade her star weapon. Bing Qingxian understood. That purple thunder monster? Mu Qingying spoke. Bing Qingshuan's face turned gloomy. I believe that the purple thunder monster will become everyone's target after the 7 stars assembly. We can wait and see for now, then swoop in. If we can upgrade your star weapon to 6 or 7 star, Qingying, we will be fine. So long as we can kill the purple thunder monster, his multiple star generals will only become meat on our chopping block. Master's Heaven Earth Dark Yellow 4 swords is still missing the Heaven Sword. Does Master need subordinate to help steal it? Mu Qingying continued to ask expressionlessly. No need for the time being. We can take the Heaven Sword at any time. For now, let it be, so as to avoid disturbing the snake in the grass. Wait until after the heavenly books. Bing Qingxian stroked his chin, suddenly gazing at the woman. Qingying, have you comprehended your Earth rank? Mu Qingying shook her head. I should think of some ways to comprehend the Earth rank and Heaven Earth Dark Yellow. By the time of the 3 heavenly books, we will have an even greater chance of victory. If we can comprehend the Heaven rank 3rd watch, these star duels will be ours. Subordinate obeys. Bing Qingxian planned every single step in the future star duels. Although he acted as the most high path's hidden star master, compared to the Xie Zhenyuan in the spotlight, he appeared especially cautious. Just as he was pondering, Bing Qingshuan's divine intent moved. Mu Qingying quickly spun around. Her 4-star destined weapon daggers flowing frost moon shadow unsheathed, slashing a frosty dagger light. Dagger knocked into dagger. A crisp clash. The sneak attacking assassin's speed was not slow. After the first wave of assassination attacks declared her presence, the second wave launched even faster. Just like a demon circumventing Mu Qingying's defenses, she directly targeted the investigative star's heart. Mu Qingying's double daggers slashed left and right, but her opponent had evidently used her dark technique. Twin daggers slashed open countless phantoms that deflected these tips. However, Mu Qingqing was a heavenly star assassin after all. Regardless of awareness or reactions, she was extremely outstanding. The investigative star instantly retreated. Her star beast dark karma dispersed into countless black screens, and her foe suddenly attacked empty space. Was that flickering light passing shadow just now? Mu Qingying reappeared several dozen meters away. The corner of the girl's mouth carelessly revealed a mocking curve. Hearing her words, the Bing Qingxian who was about to intervene stopped. Flickering light passing shadow? Little restrained? Gritting her teeth. A shadow appeared. Mu Duang straddled her room Black Panther as she stared hatefully at Mu Qingying. Letting you off last time was your good luck? Now you have come to die again? You truly are adorable. Bing Qingxian laughed. He recognized the girl in front of him. Last time at the Most High Path, this assassin heard information from who knows where and came to the sect to duel Mu Qingying. The result was she was naturally defeated. Afterwards, so as to avoid exposing his identity, they let go of their chance to kill her, allowing little restrained to escape. Bing Qingxian still felt this was a pity. He did not expect her to come again. Elder sister, do you dare duel with me? Mu Duang pointed at her elder sister. Mu Qingying gazed at Bing Qingxian. Your luck is good, and triggering the treasure banquet's anti-attack enforcement will bring trouble. We will not kill you this time, seeing as you are so foolish. You will be a moth to a flame sooner or later, anyways. I also want to test if I can contract 2 stars. Qing, Bing Qingxian ruminated as he pursed his lips, hinting to Mu Duang. Mu Duang understood intuitively. Her figure suddenly vanished. The room Black Panther roared, simultaneously turning incorporeal. The two great assassins completely hid their presence. Bing Qingxian had inherited Mu Qingying's innate skill and could track their movements. In that chaotic emptiness, Mu Qingying and Mu Duang's 4 daggers bit at each other, crossed, sliced and slammed. Both sides were assassins, paying particular attention to the first to initiate and attack, to kill in one strike. Their attacks were extremely violent, their speed beyond compare. The air ranged with the impacts of weapons, yet not a shadow could be seen. The two swiftly retreated several steps, grimly eyeing their counterpart. Immediately after they withdrew, like a sudden storm, the sisters tacitly attacked. Kill in one strike. Flickering light passing shadow. The shadows melded together. Dagger light glittered, and a sharp dagger chi shot out, shattering the wall. Bing Qingxian narrowed his eyes. His expression suddenly changed, and before he could react, a cold dagger was already pressed against his neck. Beside his ear, he heard a sing-songy voice. You are supposed to be the same, sharing joy and misfortune. Little sisters, turn your hostility into friendship. A young woman stood between Mu Qingying and Mu Duang, dully speaking. The two girls were shaken. They only then noticed that their techniques were surprisingly easily broken by this newcomer. Mu Qingying's seemingly forever cold expression finally showed interest in seeing this woman. Jiu softly sang. Wu Yu was leisurely. A mysterious sound came, passing by endlessly. Bing Qingxian was shaken. This was the very first time he had been frightened into a cold sweat. He possessed unrestrained innate skill, but the girl before him had infiltrated right before his eyes, surprisingly unperceived. The opponent's concealment abilities were simply shocking. Could it be she was more formidable than an assassin star general? Mu Qingxing saw that her master had been captured. Without thinking, she instantly withdrew, using dark technique Death Path's Kiss. Wu Yu shrugged her shoulders. Her figure vanished, obstructing unrestrained with speed that far surpassed hers. Mu Qingying's double daggers unleashed wounds of King Yama as she easily evaded the girl's daggers and twisted for Mu Wu Yu's throat. The girl's brows rose and she slowly laughed. Mu Qingying cut empty space. Qingying, stop. Bing Qingxian shouted. Before Mu Qingying could, a dagger pressed against her. The dagger's edge glinted with a cold light, the glare blinding Mu Qingying. She was stifled. Frost moon ruinous light? Hey, this is my duel with elder sister, don't interfere. Mu Duang pointed at Wu Yu. Mu Wu Yu's brows rose, and she retracted her daggers. No wonder the twin Mu assassins have declined to unexpectedly revel in infighting. Mu Wu Yu dully turned her head back, calling out to Xuanla Feifei without any energy. Feifei, are we actually helping this generation's sisters? Xuanla Feifei nodded. Mu Wu Yu and Mu Jiu put away their hostility, concealing themselves behind her. Who are you? Bing Qingxian was unable to breathe, and his whole body trembled. What are your true names? Xuanla Feifei asked. Duang. Who are you? Why are you interrupting me? Mu Duang stamped her foot, angrily speaking. The corner of Bing Qingxuan's mouth twitched. This idiot completely had no sense of danger, and she was a bit too much on the slow side. Xuanla Feifei then looked at Mu Qingying. Qingying. Mu Qingying coldly replied. Mu Duang Mu Qingying not bad. The names of this generation's Mu sisters appear to be able to have some achievement. Xuanla Feifei happily punched her palm. This made her recall that day she contracted Mu Jiu and Mu Wu Yu. It was practically the same situation. Just who is your distinguished self? Bing Qingxian already sensed something. Mu Wu Yu lazily stretched herself. These two are too weak. Feifei, are we really helping them ascend Maiden Mountain? Bing Qingxuan's eyes widened. He restrained the impulses in his heart. What did you say? Mu Duang, do you want to ascend Maiden Mountain and become overlord? Fairy Xuanla tossed out an enticing offer. Mu Duang bluntly refused. No. Xuanla Feifei blanked. She completely did not expect that Mu Duang would answer like this. She had originally wanted to play matchmaker to make this man contract 2 stars with Mu Duang. If the sisters signed contracts, so long as they were of the same mind, there was a very good chance for him to become a star master to 2 stars, but seeing Mu Duang's unwilling appearance, Xuanla Feifei had thought she misheard. There was unexpectedly a star general that did not wish to scale Maiden Mountain. Mu Zhiyu was delighted. Little restrained, you said you do not want to ascend Maiden Mountain? I only want to kill elder sister. Mu Duang pointed at Qingying. Where did you come up with this preposterous idea? Mu Wuyu was a bit furious with this fool who had inherited the name of Little Restrained. Mu Duang actually then recalled something, finally saying with determination, "This is how I think. Elder sister, watch this." Saying this, she was about to stake everything when Mu Wuyu instantly arrived beside her and grabbed her wrist. This speed scared Bing Qingxian. That hurts. Mu Duang bared her teeth. You truly have lost the face of us little restraints. Mu Wuyu's face was red as she cursed. Mu Duang snorted. With her other hand, dagger light glinted, releasing a phantom. The girl spun around, stabbing behind her, but regardless of how fast or nimble she was completely unable to seize even the slightest trace of Wuyu. Suddenly, Mu Duang helplessly threw her knives. Frost moon ruinous light directly stuck into the thick stone slabs. As an assassin, throwing your weapons is truly disgraceful. Mu Wuyu was speechless. Bing Qingxian wrinkled his brows and sneered, this kind of star general truly does not realize the situation before her. Contracting with her will only be a hindrance. What a big mouth. Mu Wuyu arrived in front of him, disliking his evaluation of Little Restrained. Do not be noisy. Xuanla Feifei shouted, a bit unable to fathom Mu Duang. If you wish to become top-notch assassins, then come with this fairy. Xuanla Feifei turned around and opened a heavenly sound array. Her 2 Mus shrugged and entered the formation. Bing Qingxian hesitated a moment. Although he did not understand just what was happening, he could vaguely deduce that he had apparently happened upon great fortune to encounter an exceptional character. The array in front of him was truly an absolutely good opportunity. He laughed, and then Bing Qingxian and Mu Qingying entered the array. That man is somewhat shrewd. Mu Zhiyu slightly grinned. This keeps in accordance with an assassin style. Xuanla Feifei nodded. But that Little Restrained was honestly very unqualified. As an assassin, she nevertheless did not have even the most fundamental ability to sense danger. She unexpectedly wanted to challenge a heavenly star. Was her brain waterlogged? Although she is a bit stupid, her martial arts are not bad. Her thinking is very meticulous. Perhaps she is not so simple. Mu Wuyu had tested doing before and thoughtfully smiled. Xuanla Feifei could not interfere in the star duels, otherwise drawing Chao Gai over would be some trouble. If it was not for her, she truly wanted to help Bing Qingxian contract both Mu sisters to achieve another double Mu assassin legend. However, entering her heavenly sound realm, there was a chance Mu Duang would refuse. Pondering this, Bing Qingxian and Mu Qingying already entered. Then, Mu Duang walked in with the in-room Black Panther. She did not want to become an assassin actually, she simply did not want to let her elder sister go. Before Fairy Xuanla could say anything, Mu Duang suddenly turned around and left the array. Then she walked in again and left again, as if she was leaving the back door to her own home. Fairy Xuanla and the others stared, not understanding what she was doing. After 2 cycles, Mu Wuyu smiled. Just what antics are these, little sister? I just want to go grab my weapons. Mu Duang showed her daggers. Destined star weapons, can appear as we will them, grab, is there something so cliché? You're right. Mu Duang had an epiphany. Xuanla Feifei, Bing Qingxian, can we actually realize the legend of the 9th generation assassins? Mu Zhiyu face-bombed. Mu Wuyu dully shrugged her shoulders. Just who are you? Bing Qingxian decided to not mind her. Do not ask me who I am. You need only remember one thing. I will impart to you the pinnacle of assassination. Xuanla Feifei smiled, full of confidence. Su Xing's treasure banquet was still progressing according to plan perfectly. On the second day, he had already browsed through the 2 largest districts in the heaven, earth, dark, and yellow areas. He had already bought what he could, and when he returned to his quarters at night, Tang Lianxin brought the information Zhu Yueka relayed about the alliance of 10. And Shi Yu mentioned the Hu Mi of the Purple Firmament Immortal Palace. That duel had been interrupted by the mysterious star General Yue. The result was that Zhang Feiyu was not an opponent and was defeated. Gold Lancer Su Jingshu also suffered a hidden loss. However, in a 4-against-1, even that Yuang did not have an advantage. She made several hundred bouts before she withdrew. Just as she came, so too did she withdraw mysteriously. Su Xing had seen many star duels, and those whose martial arts could be this strong WRL might to a few. As for Hu Mi's intentions, Su Xing surmised that she was most likely betting on both sides. She was both friend and foe, however, her repelling Shi Yu made Su Xing let go of fighting her. On the treasure banquet's third day, Su Xing unexpectedly ran into Gong Kaiwei in the Magic Array district. Due to his abundance of prehistoric spirit treasures, he gave her the Bagua mirror, inquiring about her recent situation and taking a stroll with her. During this time, they encountered Yen Wudao, Xie Chang'an, Lady Snake Scorpion, and other familiar faces. It was contrarily difficult to maintain calm in the Crystal Dragon Palace treasure banquet. On the 4th day of the treasure banquet, the spirit sealing list was again in a perilous situation. A never-before-heard-of prehistoric spirit treasure named All Things Bracelet, 2, had surprisingly displaced Northern Darkness as Fish's 3 Clarities banner had been squeezed out of its throne at 3rd place. The proud magic weapon of the Most High Path's top-notch ancestor had once again been dragged down by an unheard-of magic weapon, again making everyone speculate in a frenzy who it belonged to. However, other than these days that flourished in the direction of the Purple Thunder Monster, they truly did not know anyone else. The same day, the Alliance of 10 Conference set their banquet in the Crystal Dragon Palace's 4 Seas Hall. This was not actually an Alliance of 10 Conference, but this was a good opportunity to use the treasure banquet as a means to convene all of the Azure Dragon Territory's sects for negotiation. Because Su Xing had the identity of a 4-style school disciple, he also needed to attend. Tang Lianxin followed afterwards, but so as not to expose himself, Lining Mei, Wu Xinjie, Wu Xiyo and the others did not come along. Only Yen Yizhen and Gong Sun Huang entered the star nest as a precaution. Tang Lianxin's Great Void Golden Lotus star weapon had never been clearly understood by anyone, so Su Xing did not worry about her being seen through. He slightly disguised himself and then rushed to the 4 Seas Hall. He heard practically all star masters would attend, and Su Xing wanted to find Zhao Hanyan. Outside the 4 Seas Hall, the 4-style school's delegation was outside the gate. In attendance of this treasure banquet, other than Zhu Yueka, there was also the Fire Cloud Peak's head Ruan Hongda as well as his daughter Ruan Hongxue and others. Spotting Su Xing, Ruan Hongxue was still a bit of fiery temper. "You are too slow to make us wait for you so long." "Sorry, some things delayed me," Su Xing said. "Du? Su Xing, you are Super Void stage." Zhu Yueka was stunned. "Huh." Ruan Hongda first froze. When he surprisingly could not see Su Xing's cultivation clearly, he discovered the man in front of him had unexpectedly reached Super Void stage. The man cupped his fist in reverence and said, "Truly, congratulations to fellow Su Xing, to surprisingly break through to Super Void in such a short time." Super Void stage was Liangshan continent's most powerful level of cultivation. Even with the 4-style school's years of history, other than during its golden years, there were no more Super Void cultivators afterwards. No way! Ruan Hongxue did not believe this. The first time she saw Su Xing, he had only been Galaxy stage, and now he had unexpectedly rose to Super Void in 1 year. This cultivation advancement speed was unprecedented. They all say that Xie Zhenyuan whatever is a hard-to-find genius, but I feel he truly is very far behind junior brother Su Xing. These words once uttered drew the gazes of other cultivators. "Hongxue, do not be impolite to senior brother Su Xing." Ruan Hongda rebuked her, fearing she was as rude and unreasonable as before. Ruan Hongxue wrinkled her nose in grievance, grumbling about, "What is a star duel covenant even good for?" "It's okay, this is quite the happy encounter," Su Xing modestly said. Zhu Yueka sighed. Never expected Su Xing to reach Super Void. Master is ashamed at her inferiority, but this is good as well. Master can be at ease about the star duels. Did the headmaster not come? Su Xing did not want to continue this conversation and changed the topic. In accordance with this sort of banquet, the sect's headmaster would not miss out. When he mentioned the four-style schools, Taoist Xian Tian, Juyueka, and Wan Hongda sighed in depression. What happened? Su Xing wrinkled his brow. Let us go inside and then talk. Falling Blossom's Ghost Kingdom's ghost martial cultivators had invaded several times. Taoist Master Xian Tian had led everyone in the four-style school into war against the ghost cultivators. Afterwards, his vitality was injured, and he was currently in secluded cultivation. Currently, Taoist Master Xian Tian already drained his life force. Juyueka's trip here was also to find some life force prolonging items to bolster Taoist Master Xian Tian's vitality. The Falling Blossom's Ghost Kingdom has invaded? Is the four-style school the only one holding them back? Su Xing wrinkled his brow. Four Styles Island is located in the channel for the Falling Blossom's Ghost Kingdom to enter the Azure Dragon territory. Falling Blossom's Ghost Kingdom's ghost martial cultivators have always wanted to seize Four Styles Island to act as their foothold into opening the Azure Dragon territory. Emperor Liang has actually planned for this, but Four Styles Island is our sect's foundation. In any case, we cannot hand it over to the imperial family. Wan Hongda explained. Thus, For Styles Island became a chess piece in standing against the ghost martial cultivators. This was also the reason why when ancient senior arriving Nine Dragons Great Sect was originally destroyed, the refined Four-Style school could still survive. Su Xing showed an expression of admiration. To lead the sect alone in fighting off a country's incursion gave Su Xing a very good impression. Su Xing had a life-extending flat peach that was perfect for prolonging his vitality, so Su Xing said, "Disciple just happens to have a life-extending flat peach that can be given to headmaster." Everyone was shocked. "You have a flat peach?" Ruan Hongxue was tongue-tied. Ruan Hongda and the other elders looked at Su Xing in shock, full of disbelief. However, the most shocking thing was that Su Xing even wanted to give this life-extending flat peach to Taoist Master Xian Tian. That ambivalent tone of his, as if it seemed like an ordinary peach to him. That was but a life-extending flat peach, the one labeled a holy fruit by supervoid cultivators. "Is what you said true?" Juyueka calmed down. Su Xing nodded. Regardless of the life-extending flat peach's value, it was no more than a holy fruit used to bolster vitality. It was useless to Su Xing, so he felt giving it to Taoist Master Xian Tian was fine as well. In any case, the Four-Style school had treated him generously. Ruan Hongda swallowed. He looked at Juyueka. Decision-making authority clearly rested with this tool refinement master. "You may not," Juyueka said coldly. "Master?" Tang Lianxin was confused. "I heard that this treasure banquet has the double sevens and a new prehistoric magic weapon. If you have the life-extending flat peach, that is an enormous advantage for you. Su Xing, you are participating in the star duels. This sect has treated you unfairly somewhat. How can we take such an important thing from you?" Juyueka was very firm. Even the headmaster would not agree. "Master, don't be tangled up over the particulars. I have my own ideas for the star duels." Su Xing smiled and said. Juyueka pondered for a moment, but she declined again. The life-extending flat peach was too important. Often, supervoid cultivators would use life-extending flat peaches to break through to transforming Star of Annihilation using the life-extending flat peaches, and they were precious for this reason. Supercluster cultivators using it honestly was too wasteful. Our sect understands your kindness. Taoist Master Xian Tian is already supercluster peak and at the bottleneck to breaking through to supervoid stage. We have come this time to search for medicines that will help Headmaster break through his cultivation. The life-extending flat peach is best left with you. It is very useful for your star duels. Seeing Juyueka truly did not want to take it, Su Xing muttered. Medicines for a breakthrough in cultivation, disciple just happens to have some. Saying this, his fingers snapped, and an astral bag flew into Juyueka's hand. Ju Yueka searched inside, and her beautiful face nearly drained of color. Inside, there were unexpectedly several legendary good fortune pills and 1,000-year Empress Watirs. Good luck, good luck. Su Xingfei coughed. Master Aunt Yueka, what is it? Wan Hongda curiously asked. Ju Yueka forced herself to calm down, but upon looking at Su Xing, her heart flustered. Just what had this man been doing? Good fortune pills and Empress Watirs were not just spirit medicines. Cultivations yearned for day and night to break through their cultivation, but they could only be found in the Black Turtle Territory's Black Turtle Temple and Temple of Empress Wa. How did he venture between two territories? Ju Tuk felt faint. Could it be that he had killed other Star Masters to obtain these? If that was the case, it could explain how he could cross 1,000 li in a day. How could Ju Yueka know that Su Xing was the purple thunder monster who made people in two territories tear their hair out over? Seeing Su Xing was serious, Ju Yueka did not shrink back. With the 4 Style School's assets, their original wish to buy panaceas for breakthrough to supervoid cultivation in this treasure banquet was utterly remote. Ju Yueka knew that things were serious, so she gratefully said, "For Su Xing's kindness today, this sect thanks you. Master will first take these medicines back to the sect and will take leave first." Ju Yueka hurriedly left. Wan Hongxue scratched her head. Master Aunt has never been so emotional. Su Xing, just what did you give Master Aunt? Some medicines that can perhaps allow for a breakthrough to supervoid. Su Xing answered. Huh. Wan Hongxue was tongue-tied. The 4 Style School had already declined in the Azure Dragon territory. After Su Xing entered the sect, he had painstakingly suppressed his cultivation to avoid attention. Su Xing also took this chance to size up the best of Azure Dragon territory. Regarding the Alliance of 10 conference, it was a very interesting affair. After Emperor Liang took power and turned the imperial family into a power that surpassed the sects, the Alliance of 10 sects then distinguished themselves, and the other small sects thoroughly degenerated under the halo of the Alliance of 10 sects into subordinate existences. For this reason, every 10 years they would convene an Alliance of 10 conference to draw up a major commotion in the Azure Dragon territory. The grand occasion did not lose to the treasure banquet. 1 path, 2 halls, 3 palaces, 4 sword sections, 5 lakes, 6 oceans, 7 mountains, 8 directions in the Azure Dragon territory were already universally appreciated, but to rise in the Alliance of 10 was not a simple task. In this Alliance of 10, there was at least 1 supervoid cultivator standing watch, and those above the 3 palaces had at least 2. The most high path of the Alliance of 10 had 5 supervoid level cultivators. Originally, with the most high path's overwhelming capital, this number 1 path would sit stably for at least 100 years, but no one expected that the 9th star duels would unexpectedly have abnormalities. The purple thunder monster's birth had overturned the most high path, and the latter had lost ancestral masters to an impasse. However, Northern Darkness has fish still appeared steady as always. No one could see what he was thinking of. He sat upright and still upon the throne of number 1, lightly chatting with the ancestral masters of the true immortal hall and lifeless hall that had left seclusion. This harmonious scene was rather somewhat displeasing. Right now, everyone under heaven knew that the most high path wanted the purple thunder monster eliminated as soon as possible, and they wondered whether or not Northern Darkness has fish would summon those ancestors truly in seclusion. After all, there was the precedent of the blooming water sword sect's ancestor Wanli at the Bright Moon Longevity Palace. If something like this happened again, Su Xing honestly would feel this was very troublesome. Anyway it was put, supervoid peak cultivators were Liangshan's best. Even with so many star generals, he could not be careless. Su Xing sized up the top-notch cultivators of the 2 halls. The lifeless halls was a refined and elegant man. He had a bookish air, cultured and smart. At first glance, the impression he gave was very refined. The more he acted like this, the more it made others feel that he was unfathomable. The true immortal halls was even more awesome. She was a woman wearing a pretty white palace dress. Her skin was like snow, absolutely beautiful. Every frown and smile, every word and action, each and every move, her temperament was like a kind of Xian Nu. That man's name is Shu Xindao, one of the true Immortal Hall's Supervoid stage great ancestral masters. What he has trained in is the not-known Cool Breeze Sword, 2, and the One-Phrase Soul Technique, 3, and he has a magic weapon named Yellow Springs Brush. He is quite upstanding and he has never been known to initiate an attack on others, so you do not need to worry about him interfering with Northern Darkness as Fish. The true Immortal Hall's ancestral master is Outer Void Immortal, the first woman to cultivate the 72 Outer Void Flying Immortal Swords to the true Spirit Realm. Her skill with the Heavenly Immortal Swords is outstanding, and even Emperor Liang cannot compare. She has practiced the Immortal Mind Chant and the 9 Days Outer Void Divine Light. Her magic weapon is named Dragon Slaying Sword, and she has previously dueled Ancestral Master Northern Darkness several times. She is evenly matched with him. Outer Void Immortal is purportedly at the Super Void Peak bottleneck, so there is no need to worry about her interfering. A voice gentle as snow leisurely spoke, as if she had seen though everything on Su Xing's mind. Su Xing turned around and slightly smiled. A young girl whose clothes surpassed snow stood there the same way when they had first met, cool and with a slight warmth in her arrogance. Gong Kaiwei. The immortal hero princess gaze again glanced at the others. The extreme ice holy palace of the 3 palaces will not meddle in your affairs. The purple firmament immortal palace's position is not clear. In this treasure banquet, they only dispatched the Supervoid early stage Fairy Kong. Associating with that they never held power, they had practically no dealings with the 10 great sects. They have unintentionally showed interest. What you need to take note of is the Crystal Dragon Palace's Long Wanxin. She and Northern Darkness as Fish have a very deep friendship. Owing to the Crystal Dragon Palace's neutral stance, they probably will not interfere, but the Crystal Dragon Palace has countless rare treasures. She will secretly help him, so you had best keep your guard. Su Xing was dumbfounded listening. As it turned out, the girl was already helping him understand. Gong Kaiwei, you know so much in detail, you can't have investigated this just for me? He was a bit embarrassed. Gong Caiwei's cheeks flared with a bit of red. She expressionlessly said, "Do not forget that Zhu Sha is the resourceful strategist. I only asked her." The stone-like woman next to Gong Kaiwei then blinked, as if she was informing Su Xing that she was very innocent. Su Xing smiled, "Many thanks. If these Super Void Peak ancestors team up, then that honestly would not be so easy to deal with." Gong Kaiwei cast a glance at him, her expression seemingly saying, "You can only blame yourself for being too defiant of the natural order. Have you prepared what to do?" Gong Kaiwei walked to Su Xing's side. She spoke gently, the young girl's fragrance lingering nearby like butterflies. "If Northern Darkness as Fish wants to take revenge, then I won't hold back." Against an enemy, Su Xing had never been benevolent. Gong Kaiwei gently shook her head. She did not worry about this. Su Xing's Star General battle formation was so big that even if the Most High Path did its utmost with the sect's tens of thousands of cultivators, they were helpless against Su Xing. What Gong Kaiwei worried about was something else. The third overlord may be the peerless twin assassins that have comprehended their third watch. This must be a problem? Gong Kaiwei said. This actually is true. Su Xing nodded. He had investigated some records of the third star duels. A star master named Xuan Lefeifei who had contracted 2 stars. She had studied under an ancient sect, the Heavenly Sound Valley, and she possessed a very powerful sword chant. The Crown Prince Long Qin Heavenly Sound Sword and a mysterious ability, Heavenly Sound Realm, Illusion of Confusing Sound. 5. Assassins who have comprehended heaven rank will have no chance to assassinate you. I can help you, to be on alert. Gong Kaiwei paused, as if she was carefully considering her phrasing to feel not so ambiguous. Zhu Sha's arrays can be laid anytime. Other than Wu Song, assassins will have no way to vanish. Kaiwei, I appreciate your good intentions, but I think it's enough for me to resolve the third overlord myself. Do you feel that I am unable to help you? Gong Kaiwei rolled her hair bun, her tone apathetic, a bit unhappy. This is trouble I brought on. Involving you is never good. Su Xing shook his head. Is there any difference between us? Gong Kaiwei softly said. Su Xing scratched his head. Gong Kaiwei's words were somewhat unexpected. He seriously said, I already have a plan to handle the two assassins. If I really need your help, I won't be modest with you, Kaiwei. Gong Kaiwei grunted in affirmation. She heard his intent. The girl said nothing else, and the atmosphere fell into silence. Su Xing found a topic and spoke up. Right, the Bright Moon Longevity Palace has already been opened. Kaiwei, do you want to move in? Gong Kaiwei was taken aback. The red clouds that had just abated once again flew across her cheeks. If it was before, Gong Kaiwei definitely would face him with cold eyes. However, she noticed that whenever she faced this man in front of her, she already could no longer be as tranquil as before. Feigning nonchalance, why invite me? Only then did Su Xing notice that his question seemed too ambiguous. The Bright Moon Longevity Palace has an abundance of spiritual power, very helpful for cultivation. Right? You can cultivate the longevity art anytime you wish in the Longevity Palace. How about it, want to consider it? Gong Kaiwei nodded. It was unclear if this was agreement or agreement to consider. As the two chatted, they already attracted the attention of other cultivators. The immortal hero princess of the Azure Dragon territory was very famous, and her cultivation had broken through to Super Void, which added even more to her refined, heroic air. She made countless male cultivators submit, and to see the legendary girl who was as cold as ice and snow surprisingly conversing with a man honestly made them envious. However, that man was a Super Void cultivator, so there was no helping their jealousy. Just when they were somewhat timid, somebody refused to be so. Elder brother, he is Su Xing. The Lingdong Countess Yi Lingxi recognized her nemesis, Su Xing. She indignantly appealed to Yi Futu for justice. Yi Futu was currently patrolling for the Star Masters of the Four Oceans Halls in consideration of star duel plans. Hearing his little sister's words, he cast his glance at Su Xing. His eyes narrowed. The one you spoke of who disrespected you is him? Exactly him. Even in disguise, I can recognize him. Seeing Su Xing was chatting cheerfully with Gong Kaiwei, Yi Lingxi was completely red in the face with fury. This damned man had seduced the Ling Yen princess and was surprisingly seducing the immortal hero princess. Super Void cultivator, a star master? Yi Futu stroked his chin. He angers me to death. I definitely will tell Sister Kaiwei, that man's shameless, true face. Yi Lingxi ground her teeth. She had just taken 2 steps forward when she was grabbed by Yi Futu. Elder brother? Yi Lingxi was unhappy he had stopped her. Look at what he is saying first. A slight grin flit across the corner of Yi Futu's lips. Yi Lingxi did not understand. If he is your enemy, then observe him. From his words and actions, his manners and expressions, you can deduce his weakness. Know thyself, know thy enemy to emerge victorious through 100 battles. So annoying. Yi Lingxi wrinkled her brow. Yi Futu sternly glanced at her. Yi Lingxi knew her elder brother's temperament and stayed her mouth even though she was unhappy. Yi Futu took out a wine cup, drinking as he monitored Su Xing's behavior, leaving no sign by using the corner of his eye. He had a sort of intuition that man was hiding something. After 3 rounds of drinking, Yi Futu had yet to see anything. Su Xing and Gong Kaiwei's chat seemed very ordinary. However, that man absolutely was not as simple as he appeared in order to be able to attract the attention of the immortal hero princess. Elder brother. Yi Lingxi was impatient. You have to avenge little sister. She would never forget this. Yi Futu smiled. Since this is the case, let us personally meet him. When Yi Futu approached Su Xing had already been monitoring this red-haired man. Gong Kaiwei had also been secretly using sound transmission to inform him of all information pertaining to Yi Futu. Because of an accident, this cultivator who once possessed superb talent had degraded into a cripple. Now, after all traces of him vanished, he once again rose abruptly, having once again found his talent. Though his supercluster peak cultivation was not high, as far as a Star Master was concerned, breaking through to Super Void was only a matter of time. Gong Kaiwei mentioned that he was a Star Master. However, Su Xing did not see his star general. At least, she was not following at his side. Elder sister Kai Wei, stay far away from this man. Yi Lingxi flew over and grabbed Gong Caiwei's hand to pull her away from the close distance she was at beside Su Xing. Yi Lingxi, what are you doing? Gong Caiwei wrinkled her brow. Yi Lingxi, we meet again. Su Xing smiled. Yi Lingxi glared at him and coldly snorted, shameless pervert. You are acquainted? Gong Caiwei said in surprise. Elder sister Kai Wei, do not be deceived. The Ling Yen princess man is him. You had best stay away from him. He definitely is thinking of harming you. Gong Caiwei stared oddly at Su Xing. I made a boring bet with her, and the result is she lost. Su Xing shrugged his shoulders. Yi Lingxi, your shouting is unbecoming of the Yi clan. Gong Caiwei was expressionless. Yi Lingxi's mouth hung agape. She thought that she had misheard, for Gong Caiwei unexpectedly defended this man. Little sister, do not be noisy and carefully listen to Caiwei's words. A transient glint flashed by Yi Futa's eyes as he very quickly put on a very amicable smile. Your servant is Yi Futu, Yi Lingxi's big brother. Su Xing nodded. I think you also know my name. But as her big brother, you honestly should properly teach your little sister. She and I definitely do not have such enmity. You shameless pervert, you have reversed black and white. Yi Lingxi's eyes spouted fire. Yi Futu did not answer, but he smiled and asked, May your servant ask, Brother Su Xing, do you have a little sister? Yes, however, they are very good at understanding others. Since Brother Su Xing also has little sisters, then you must be very understanding of the feeling of being a big brother? Yi Futu continued. Su Xing knew what he was thinking of. My little sister indeed has been somewhat in the wrong, however, she generally wants to make me, as her elder brother, get her out of predicaments. Even if she is not right at all, any way it is put, she is my little sister. Besides that she and fellow Su Xing had something happen before, the misfortune is hers. As a big brother, helping a little sister out is only right. Brother Futu, if you have something to say, just say it directly. If it is a rude and unreasonable request, then forgive your servant for his powerlessness. Su Xing said bluntly. Yi Futu smiled. Good, brother used a bit of psychology to best my little sister. Today, I only want to bet 3 rounds with you. This request was the same as Su Xing's own idea, but he was somewhat apprehensive of Yi Futu's 3 bets. Brother Futu wants 3 bets. Can we not settle with 1 bet? Your servant and brother Su Xing are somewhat of kindred spirits. Your servant fears there will not be much time to make merry in this treasure banquet. It would be a bit better to enjoy ourselves to the fullest. Then good, I also was thinking of savoring this. Su Xing's eyes flashed with a bit of cunning. This Four Oceans Hall was currently holding the Alliance of 10 conference. So as to not influence things, Su Xing and Yi Futu went to an adjacent hall. Su Xing turned his head back and spoke to Tang Lianxin briefly, making Tang Lianxin take note of the situation in the Four Oceans Hall before he turned and went into the side palace. Regarding the bet between these 2 men, Gong Caiwei did not issue any opinion from start to finish, however. She tagged along out of slight interest and to also act as a witness. Yi Futu whispered into Yi Lingxi's ear. Hearing that her elder brother wanted to best Su Xing in a bet, Yi Lingxi was incomparably excited, and she promptly dispatched someone to prepare. Not a moment later, everything had been prepared. In the palace, a table and a chess set were arranged, with red pieces acting for white and black as black. Su Xing furrowed his brow. For this first round, we shall play chess. How do you feel? Yi Futu asked. Chess. Su Xing thought this was even stranger. He did not expect for the most ordinary chess. Rather than say a game of chance, it would be better to say this was recreation. To be evenly matched, to make a friend. This was Yi Futu's intent. Of course. Su Xing did not have an opinion. Elder brother, you must beat him silly. Yi Lingxi excitedly pounded her fist. From her confident expression, Yi Futu's chess skills perhaps were not simple. Su Xing chose the red pieces. Red went first. Su Xing's divine intent moved, and a cannon advanced. Yifuta smiled. He eyed the board and moved his divine intent. Without any hesitation, after Yifuta made his move, Su Xing quickly shifted his own. Yifuta followed closely behind, but before he could take a careful look, Su Xing seemed to have already finished thinking. He moved his horse, and Yifuta continued to wear a forceful chill and did not hesitate to move. In that second, both of them took several dozen turns. Yifuta noticed that Su Xing seemed to be doing this deliberately. Each move had not opportunity for consideration. As if the moment he moved, Su Xing would immediately pressure on. The board was full of tyranny and oppression. Brother Su Xing's chess style truly makes your servant expand his horizons. Yifuta took a deep breath and maintained his calm. He nearly was about to be dragged in by Su Xing's rapid tempo. A bit of vigilance was in his eyes, yet his expression still smiled slightly. Ancient people played chess as they enjoyed tranquility, but I feel victory through speed is not bad. Fast is good, but fast also signifies needless consideration. In chess, renouncing pondering signifies a complete and total loss. Yifuta kindly said. Su Xing declined to comment. Thus, the next move was very interesting. Su Xing calmly looked at the chessboard, making his move immediately after Yifuta's without any thinking. Yifuta maintained his own deliberate manner, not being influenced by Su Xing's provocative chess play. He worked according to his own style, occasionally carefully looking at Su Xing's positioning, occasionally looking at Su Xing's appearance as he moved his pieces, as if he was trying to discern something. How can this be? Elder brother has been suppressed. Yi Lingxi was dumb as a wooden chicken, as if she had been dunked with a bucket of cold water. Yifuta had enjoyed chess ever since he was little, considerably elaborate and meticulous with his arrangements. Even the great Liang's national chess master was ashamed of his own inferiority. Yi Lingxi had thought she could see her elder brother suppress the loathsome Su Xing in chess, yet she saw the complete opposite scene. Yifuta were locked tight. Su Xing was heedless. The expressions of the two were the difference between heaven and earth. In Yi Lingxi's eyes, it seemed her elder brother had become a rookie, and that leisurely Su Xing was like an old master teaching him. The reason for this misconception was that Su Xing's moves were honestly too quick. Elder brother, make your moves faster. Yi Lingxi shouted. Yifuta did not hear her. He still continued in his own way, neither fast nor slow. So incredible. The eternally silent Zhu Sha suddenly spoke. Gong Kaiwei saw that the Zhu Sha who would not even blink if the sky came crashing down was unexpectedly showing shock. She knew that there was something significant on the inside and asked, "Have you seen something?" "He has been deceived." Shazad. These 4 words were a bit vague. Who has been deceived? He. Zhu Sha looked at Yifuta then back at the chessboard. Gong Kaiwei suddenly understood. So that is how it is. On the surface, Su Xing seemed to be using pressure to hold an advantage over Yifuta, not considering any move on the chessboard, but in fact, Su Xing's considerations were perhaps far more extensive than Yifuta. Just as Yifuta began to meditate every move, Su Xing also had time for leisure. It was precisely during this time that Su Xing already saw through the trend of the game, and when it came time for his turn, he naturally did not need to think much. Therefore, Su Xing was then cleverly passing the time back to Yifuta, creating the odd image of a Yifuta in contemplation and a Su Xing that did not need to do so. He has won. Shazad. Su Xing, just who are you after all? Gong Kaiwei murmured. The following game was not unsurprising. Along with the passage of time and the trend of chess, the atmosphere grew increasingly heavy. Although Yifuta racked his brains and reflected for counterplay, his countermeasures had already fallen into the lost defense trap. The more time he had to ponder, the more certain Su Xing's victory became, and even if at this time Yifuta wanted to match Su Xing's speed, because he had lost the initiative, he was already too late. Their game made the Yen Asian in the star nest begin to admire Su Xing. The result was obvious. A scarlet edge extravagantly cut open a line in the sky. Black lotuses suddenly swayed, and the first petal was ripped apart under a bloody edge. Yifuta could not hold on and revealed gaps. His gaze gradually chilled, but he still maintained his calm. He concentrated full force on the game, his super fast thinking analyzing the whole situation. His next move was also to take one of Su Xing's pierces. The black piece was just like a stable sluice gate, adopting an airtight defensive stance. The bloody red sword under Su Xing's intent was unstoppable in its assault, forcing Yi Fudu to change strategy each and every time. Iron chains stretched across the river. They instantly disintegrated. Red cavalry danced bloodily, charging forth unhindered. Military defeat. Yi Fudu took a very deep breath. He raised his head to look at Su Xing, his eyes a complex mix of different things. Amazing, amazing. This Ye has never seen such a game. Today, this Ye's horizons have expanded. The loss was well worth it. You flatter me. After their duel, Yi Fudu was drenched in cold sweat, yet Su Xing was carefree. What is the second bet? Having sat for so long, our bodies are somewhat stiff. How about we move around for the second bet? Yi Fudu slightly smiled. A competition then? That's fine as well. Su Xing nodded. As expected, this Yi Fudu was only gambling on the surface. In actuality, he was using this as an opportunity to probe Su Xing. However, as with the chess game, Su Xing was also currently thinking of probing him back. This Yi Fudu, like a male lead in a Xuanhuan novel whose life had turned around, was definitely concealing something. Su Xing was also very interested in unearthing that. Truth be told, this Yi has trained from a young age to be a sword cultivator and really is not ordinary like other cultivators. My martial arts are not bad. Brother Su Xing, do you wish to accept this challenge? Yi Fudu asked. Su Xing knew he could not refuse. Elder brother Futu, fix him up without mercy, take my anger out on him. Hearing that this was a martial arts contest, Yi Lingxi regained her liveliness from her gloom at Yi Fudu's defeat in the first round. She happily pranced about, nearly shouting that her big brother Yi Fudu was a genius. She probably thought that compared to chess, using his martial arts prowess was the proper way to teach Su Xing a lesson. Her elder brother had just lost the chess game on purpose, so as to make Su Xing arrogant enough to agree. Seeing the Lingdong Countess so excited, Gong Kaiwei did not make a sound. The two stood at opposite ends of the hall. The red-clothed Yi Fudu was still smiling, but his eyes already had slight reservation. He raised his hand, and his fist was wrapped in flames. Brother Su Xing, for my little sister, I will not hold back. Forgive me, then. Su Xing nodded. A blinding fire spurted forth, immediately closing in on Su Xing. The fluttering flames were like a shirt covering Yi Fudu's whole body. As he had said, Yi Fudu appeared to indeed not be planning on holding back. But the moment he acted, displaying a distinctive fire ability, Su Xing committed this to memory. The corner of his lips slightly curled. He had just been thinking of knowing Yi Fudu's secrets. He could not pass this up. The Yi Fudu who had become a fireball in midair let loose a wave of fire. Su Xing's fingers were like blades, instantly striking, using Long Out Yen's dragon claw. His killing intent was severe. Yi Fudu easily evaded, instantly rushing in front of Su Xing. Go! A flaming sword appeared in his other hand, swiftly slashing. Fire clothes break. In the instant they attacked at close range, the intense flames on Yi Fudu's body were like a coat. They suddenly broke away from his body, fire and person splitting apart. Su Xing's eyes nevertheless were left with the afterglow of flames. Under a situation of not being able to react in time, a violent killing intent clambered over the remaining flames in the air, and the air burned with a crackling sound. If it was not for her knowing that Su Xing had majestic star Lin Yingmei's innate skill, Gong Kaiwei would have intervened. This Yi Fudu clearly had ill intentions. Yi Fudu took this chance to slash. However, this time, Yi Fudu bumped into a so-called iron plate. He wanted to rely on his innate martial force to challenge Su Xing. In this second round, victory had been decided from the very start. Su Xing used his profound body techniques, leaning past the sword. The flaming coat that flew over also was dispersed by Su Xing's power. Then, one kick penetrated the layers of flame, and flipping, he kicked heavily into Yi Fudu's jaw. The power that charged from an angle struck directly, violently rocking his brain. The fire clothes break and other flames dispersed. Yi Fuda's body briefly left the ground. Yi Lingxi's smile stiffened. She thought she had gone blind and forcefully rubbed her eyes. Her own elder brother had surprisingly been kicked by a cultivator. But Yi Fuda was also very valiant. When struck by such a heavy kick, he did not shrink back. He dropped in the air, unbelievably arriving above Su Xing. His right hand rose, the fingers open as a claw of flame roared out. Hanging like a galaxy, it fell towards Su Xing's head. Bang! Just when he was on the verge of success, Su Xing struck in passing. Just as he was about to use Purple Fiend, he firmly stopped. That was a close call. He nearly exposed his identity. In this hesitation, Su Xing suffered a head-on repulsion. Yi Fuda followed closely, kicking with his left leg. Su Xing seized this opportunity and blocked quickly with one hand, letting out a frightening thud. Su Xing winced, closing one eye. The battle willpower he had tempered through sparring with star generals could not be compared. Bewilderment flashed through the eyes of the Yi Fuda, tossed back into the air. Borrowing this impact force, he rapidly turned his body, and his other leg kicked towards Su Xing's jaw in a hook-like manner. The Su Xing who had just landed back on the ground once again used his elbow to block, dispersing this kick. But Yi Fuda's trump card had just begun. Vermilion bird's soaring feather. Yi Fuda's fingers continuously formed hand seals. A bird cry. Large and wide wings of fire unfurled behind Yi Fuda. The swirling flames burned red, lighting the entire hall. Flames sparked fiercely off, lunging towards Su Xing as if to embrace him, directly burying Su Xing in this broiling blaze. Yi Fuda somersaulted down. Just as he wanted to launch a second wave of consecutive attacks on the Su Xing engulfed in flames, countless rays of chilling cold chi split apart from within the flames on Su Xing's body. Shuffle, shuffle. 2. Instantly, only black scorch marks and smoke were left. Yi Fuda instantly stopped. Su Xing's whole body radiated a dense, cold chi. Even from very far away, Yi Fuda felt this was bone-chilling. Yi Fuda was astonished. He did not dare believe there would surprisingly be someone able to so easily break his vermilion bird's soaring wing. Brother Su Xing, you are very secretive. He narrowed his eyes. It's nothing, only the heavenly water heart flame, that's all. Su Xing smiled. His hand opened and a water flame burned. Yi Fuda's expression sunk. This man in front of him was far more secretive and reserved than he had imagined. Each segment of his series of attacks just now could be said to be perfect. An average cultivator would inevitably be endlessly miserable in close quarters, but his opponent had handled everything with room to spare. Yi Fuda even felt that Su Xing was simply not using full strength. Brother Fudu, I wonder what that fire ability was just now? I have never heard of it. Su Xing spoke. This Yi was fortunate enough to obtain an unknown strange fire from an immemorial ruin. However, it seems to be a bit lacking against brother Su Xing. Yi Fuda smiled, speaking vaguely. He clearly was somewhat cautious. Then shall we continue? Su Xing said. Although this Yi is at a disadvantage, that does not mean I am limited to only this. Yi Fuda smiled, suddenly taking action. The cold air was biting, and Su Xing launched an attack. Yi Fuda leaned and let loose a fire arrow. Su Xing's clawing heavenly water heart flame immediately met the fire arrow. The heavenly water heart flame used was far from being as pure as a smelting fire. However, Su Xing secretly added instant frost flame, easily breaking the fire arrow. Just when Su Xing cut apart the fire arrow, Yi Fuda already leapt up. Su Xing's speed instantly followed. Birds revere the phoenix. 3. Yi Fuda leapt up into the air. His arms spread open, and the fire wings behind him abruptly enlarged. Flapping his wings, fire feathers then flew out, becoming 100 fire arrows that then attacked Su Xing from all sides using the flames. This guy's got some moves. Su Xing saw the might of the birds revere the phoenix. He did not dare underestimate it, but for the sake of avoiding exposing his identity, he did not use Purple Fiend. The heavenly water heart flame once again flew out, However, he was already unable to hold back on the instant frost flame this time and formed countless ice rings. Following Yi Fudo's intense attack, Su Xing continuously tore apart his flames while paying attention to his movements at the same time. When he grew familiar with Yi Fudo's attack patterns, Su Xing indifferently intercepted where Yi Fudo was about to land. His figure moved, spinning and attacking. The cold air strangely spun about, sweeping a big hole in the atmosphere. Yi Fudo suddenly leaned away and avoided this terrifying power, brandishing his sword. Chance. Su Xing's eyes glinted with a cold light. His entire person shot like a sword towards his opponent, and an ear-splitting sharp whoosh poured into everyone's ears. The radiance in his eyes suddenly dimmed. This attack was faster than he had imagined, and by the time the dodging Yi Fudo sensed danger, Su Xing's figure had already vanished without a trace from his sight like mist. Then, a sword-like figure was already in front of him. However, Yi Fudo's reactions were extremely quick. Yi Fudo possessed magnificent star Hao Bingxin's innate skill, battle potential. This innate skill could allow Yi Fudo to display his own potential at critical moments in battle. As they say, one's courage mounts as the battle progresses. His hands promptly folded in front of him to form an absolute defense. He firmly received the entirety of the blow's force. The powerful impact made the ground and table behind his body disintegrate. Yi Lingxi was flabbergasted at their exchange of attacks. It was already impossible to describe the shock in the girl's heart. Su Xing sneered in his mind, once again acting without any mercy. He closed in and punched. The completely uncushioned impact made Yi Fudo suddenly lose his balance. The Su Xing, whose eyes flowed with a cold light, did not let go of this opportunity at all. His arms suddenly rose, and then attacked again with the entire force of his body. Yi Fudo's reactions far exceeded Su Xing's presumptions, and flames flew out from his body. The air burned with a crackling sound. Just when Yi Fudo thought he could repel his opponent with fire, he suddenly felt his back go cold. Su Xing had strangely circled around his field of view and appeared behind him. What cultivator was this? Super Void Sword Saint? Yi Fudo was suddenly shocked. "Excuse me," Su Xing said. Yi Fudo struck a hand seal. The swirling flames became a cold light. Freezing ice and fire slammed into each other in the air, unexpectedly clashing with the sounds of weapons. The next instant, Yi Fudo did not hesitate at all to use both hands as his sharpest weapons to face off against Su Xing. Battle potential had been completely stimulated, and he would not concede defeat even in death. Yi Fudo completely did not expect that his first battle potential would be used on this young man. The hall suddenly raged with intense noises. Zhu Sha opened an array, just barely affecting the entire hall. Just when Yi Fudo felt grim, Su Xing was astonished. He had battle doctrine and believed handling a cultivator would not be difficult. Although he was holding back a bit against Yi Fudo, his opponent nevertheless took his attacks time and time again. Furthermore, he was becoming more and more courageous in this rapidly changing battle, maintaining unforeseen battle ability. He was not an ordinary sword cultivator. What made him even more shocked was that every swing of his opponent's sword changed, becoming even more quick, even more skillful, even more lethal. As if noticing Su Xing's surprise, Yi Fudo's ordinary expression finally curled into a slight sneer. He used an even fiercer attack to continue his advance, not intending to retreat at all. He refused to retreat. Pretty good battle energy. But that was all. Su Xing was impressed. His pupils burned with an ice-cold blaze that was more scorching than this fire. Yi Fudo's heart had an indistinct feeling of danger. The soaring flames washed away the cold air and icy chill, and his sharp eyes and his weapon became one line. He suddenly charged forwards, his sword stabbing with a roar. In the air, an arc of crimson that was red as blood was drawn. Bang! Flame and ice collided. Suddenly, a freezing chill and the flame's stifling presence rocked like a shockwave. The two of them crossed. The hall fell into silence. After a while, they turned around the same time, and Yi Fudo laughed aloud. Did elder brother win? Just as Yi Lingxi was about to shout in excitement, Suddenly, Yi Fuda coughed, vomiting blood. He fell to a knee. Yi Fuda forced a smile. He had lost. How can this be? Yi Lingxi sat on the ground in a daze. Gong Kaiwei narrowed her eyes, not at all surprised at this outcome. However, she saw that Yi Fuda's battle display had surpassed her imagination. His progress was faster than before. In the days he had disappeared, just what had happened to him? Impressive, this Yi wholeheartedly accepts defeat. Yi Fuda cupped his fist. You let me win. However, Brother Yi has a star general. If she had taken action, your servant would have undoubtedly died. Su Xing modestly said. Gong Kaiwei wanted to laugh when she heard this. This man was truly shameless. This is our contest. Naturally, I would not count star generals. Yi Fuda did not conceal anything. If we had actually star-dueled right now, your servant would truly have died. On this, you can relax. I have nothing to do with the star duels. Su Xing did not lie. The star duels indeed were unrelated to him, as long as those people did not provoke him. Su Xing's goal was to end the star duels, not to engage in internecine strife. Yi Fuda thought that Su Xing was saying he himself was not a star master, and his eyes held an odd glint. Brother Su has won 2 games. Your servant has nothing to say. This Yi shall inform little sister later to make her stop bothering brother. However, if I could have a brother-in-law like yourself, Su Xing, that would be better. Ha! Yi Fuda teased. Yi Lingxi, strangely, was not angry. The girl at this moment was dumb as a wooden chicken, unable to accept that the elder brother she was so proud of had been defeated in 2 of the aspects he was best in to a person she loathed. It would be better if we continued with the 3rd game. Su Xing suddenly said. Yi Fuda was taken aback. Brother Yi said before, there is no time after the banquet to play around like this. You might as well take advantage of this chance, enjoy ourselves to the fullest. Su Xing said, of course, if Brother Yi is willing, let us add a new bet to the 3rd game to satisfy your little sister. Yi Fuda wrinkled his brow. He could not understand what Su Xing was plotting, but he still nodded. How shall we bet? If I win, may I meet Brother Ye's star general? Liangshan continent's legendary star generals are somewhat interesting. Su Xing explained. Yi Fuda did not say anything. He contemplated for a while, staring at Su Xing, thinking carefully. There was apparently no big deal. Star generals were very important to a star master from a star duel's perspective. To know of their identity beforehand, there was the possibility to prepare countermeasures, but now that the final phase was nearly upon them, hiding was no longer needed. After a light flickered, a petite and cute girl emerged. She was like a lovely ceramic doll, uniquely delicate. Even Gong Kaiwei showed a bit of delight. Do you seek me? Hao Bingxin was already impatient. In fact, when Yi Fuda and Su Xing were dueling, Yi Fuda had previously made Hao Bingxin wait for an opportunity to kill Su Xing. However, Gong Caiwei's resourceful strategist Zhu Wu's formation was nearby, staying their hand. Otherwise, how could both sides be bullshitting each other with false friendship? Who are you? To surprisingly be able to defeat Fuda. Hao Bingxin pursed her lip angrily. What a cute little sister. Su Xing chuckled. His hand held a bag of treats, like a standard weird uncle. Your servant is Hao Bingxin, the magnificent star. Hao Bingxin raised her head, arrogant like a lion. Su Xing looked to Yi Fuda. If Brother Su is interested in meeting, then that is naturally this Ye's honor. Yi Fuda smiled. Regardless of the victor in the 3rd game, this Yi ought to introduce her. What shall we bet for the 3rd game? I just happen to be bored. Su Xing asked. As they spoke, they each sat down. Yi Fuda first tidied the disintegrated hall, and then he called for someone to go fetch a table. This time, it was a long table. The 2 of them faced each other, and this time, Gong Kaiwei stood behind Su Xing. Since ancient times, gambling has constantly changed forms. However, even with those changes, the core essence remained the same. Whatever the change, that was merely on the outside. Today, I do not wish to play with these boring styles. What I want is the most primordial 9 palaces array. How about the 9 palaces bet? Yi Futa's eyes contained a profound intent. 9 palaces array? Su Xing had never heard of this. You truly are unsophisticated to have not even heard of this. Yi Lingxi finally grabbed onto an opportunity to look down on him. The so-called 9 palaces array was one of Liangshan continent's very mainstream gambling methods. That was to arrange 9 pavilions, placing in them 9 red and black blocks. Guessing correctly won the bet. The rules were very simple, the explanation very easy. In actuality, the 9 palaces array was one of the most difficult types of betting, and the reason was precisely because it was so simple. It was simple to the point that it completely lacked meaningful and varied data and material for you to calculate and analyze. You could only rely on intuition about the atmosphere. Gambling skill also relied on luck to win, it could be said, and to Su Xing, the type of gambler that used calculations, this happened to be his greatest weakness. Of course, this was the most original and most fair to both sides. Su Xing was pensive. He used 3 fingers to tap the desk. He had just finished tapping when 9 porcelain bowl-like palaces appeared on the table. Then, Yi Futa placed the red and black blocks into the 9 palaces. Of course, Su Xing could not have known which, and the 9 palaces had a special array. It was incapable of being seen through, meaning, other than Yi Futa himself, no one else would know under which of the pavilions the red and black blocks were positioned. Looking at Su Xing, his right hand stretched level, unfolded and drew 1 character in front of him. Please speak. You only need to guess half correctly. From the very start, there was no psychology to analyze, just a simple red and black differentiation, so Su Xing did not think too much at all. Without any expression or any hesitation, he guessed the first was black. Your luck seems to be a bit bad. Yi Futa smiled and said as the first of the 9 palaces was revealed. Inside, there was a red block. The first was a mistake. It looks like this is not a good sign. At the same time he spoke, the casino's grandeur began to progress as Yi Futa anticipated. This was the psychological warfare that Su Xing was familiar with, using speech to disturb the enemy's reasoning. This move was very familiar to him, so he did not mind this at all. He sat upright in his chair and said, in all his life, a person needs only to be correct 10 times in a row to already be unequaled in the world. What is so amazing about one mistake? Su Xing's words made Yi Futa smile. It appears I should address Brother Su as senior. Please name the second. This round, Su Xing did not decide so quickly. He began to ponder, but after considering for a long while, he apparently did not obtain a result. The reason was very simple. The ways he could choose were honestly too few. It was either red or black. Any more accurate calculation and speculation, in this world of black and red, appeared to be of no avail. Furthermore, this was something arranged beforehand. There absolutely could not be any cheating. Even if Su Xing's divine intent was any stronger, he could not possibly see through this. During this time, if he wanted to accurately know just what color was under the porcelain bowls, there was only one way, and that was to see into Yi Futa's mind, to make this master that had set up the game of chance tell you the answers. This made Su Xing recall the bet he made that day with Yi Lingxi. He had similarly used a mind trick, but he did not expect Yi Futa to return the favor. Interesting. However, despite his interest, guessing the red and black blocks still gave Su Xing a headache. In battle, he could exploit his target's attack movements, their rhythm, tone, and other aspects to advance his judgment in all aspects. However, once at the betting table, especially against this shrewd Yi Futa, Su Xing found that his understanding of his opponent was no different from a stranger. He completely did not know what Yi Futa was thinking of. And this Yi Futa from start to finish wore an unfathomable smile. It seemed he would not leave a gap. In such a blank state, Su Xing shook his head. The direction he pushed towards was still black. This kind of bet appeared exceedingly innocuous. Even the most average gambler would play like this. However, at this very moment, Su Xing could only do so. Even if this move made him feel gloomy. The truth is painful, but the truth is the truth. Yi Futa was expressionless as before when he opened the bowl. The block inside was a flaming red. Su Xing solently looked at the second red block. not saying anything for the longest time. This time, Su Xing's expression became one of knowing. He nodded. Gamblers can be divided into two types. One type bets according to science and logic, the other bets according to feeling. It seems Brother Su is the former. However, betting on feeling is certainly not a good portent. Yi Fuda smiled. Furthermore, Su Xing could not possibly permit himself to act according to his impulses. On Yi Fuda's evaluation, Su Xing did not say anything. When guessing the third, he ought to select red, but Su Xing did not have such an urge. He selected the other path. Again he selected all black. The third bowl opened to reveal another red. At this time, Yi Lingxi's dejected expression was ecstatic, her eyes glowing. You are just a rookie after all, elder brother had deliberately lost those 2 games just now, definitely. The fourth bowl was still black. The result was shocking again, still red. If it was not for her elder brother losing twice before, Yi Lingxi very much wanted to ridicule him without restraint. Now, Su Xing had already guessed 4. Another one wrong and he would lose. Now, Gong Kaiwei was somewhat impatient, and she inquired Zhu Sha. The resourceful strategist's stone-like face appeared to see through the mundane world. Not saying anything, her gaze was already aimed on Su Xing. Guess another one, and you will lose. Still black, correct? This you will win. Yi Fuda seemed to be saying a very simple thing. Well spoken. Su Xing looked and shrugged his shoulders. He somewhat dully said, all black. Open the rest together. Don't waste time. Like a shattered pot, if each and every one of those was opened, then the chance that the bowls were black or red was half. But for the 6 bowls to all be black, the probability was low at 20%. This was a simple application of probability. It did not appear too brilliant, but under the current situation, this was the best path Su Xing could find according to the logic he reflected over. But this logic had a fatal flaw. This was that he could lose on any one of the next 5 bowls. Yi Lingxi had never seen such an unbelievable betting style. She thought that he finally was about to lose to her big brother. If they were opened one by one, he would still have a chance. Opening all 5 together, this was apparently a dead end. But the result was outside of everyone's expectations. They were surprisingly all black. Without exception. The smile on Yi Lingxi's face vanished. Immediately, she was flabbergasted, shocked beyond words. Ha! Yi Lingxi wanted to scream, this was too unfair. It appears that luck is on my side. Su Xing smiled. Yi Fuda could not smile. He merely sighed. Up until the end, he had never swayed Su Xing's thinking. He had originally thought to use the first 4 reds to confuse him. Elder brother, what were you doing? Yi Lingxi screamed. Nothing, I lost. Yi Fuda narrowed his eyes. Yi Lingxi was beside herself. She had yet to free herself of the situation that her elder brother had completely lost, but it was actually Yi Fuda himself that appeared quite unperturbed. He had wanted to pry into Su Xing this time. He did not view victory as important at all. Although he had lost all 3 games, his little gain was not a trifle. Yi Fuda actually somewhat understood why immortal hero princess Gong Kaiwei would walk so close to this man. Indeed, he was somewhat capable. After a few more words, Yi Fuda excused himself, and Yi Lingxi was dragged away, muddle-headed. Before leaving, those eyes that could once spout fire were already completely lightless. That the big brother she adored the most in her heart was defeated was a significant blow to her. On the road, Yi Lingxi grasped at some last remaining straws, unwilling to give up, and asked, Elder brother, you must have lost to Su Xing deliberately, right? To let him be arrogant and counterattack later. It must be this, right? Yi Fuda glanced at her. Lingxi, do not cause any more trouble. He is a supervoid cultivator. If you irritate him, even father cannot protect you. Yi Lingxi did not cultivate. Ever since she was little, she had grown up in an ivory tower. She was not like the immortal hero princess or the Ling Yen princess who participated in the cruel star duels, and she had no knowledge of a supervoid cultivator was. However, seeing her big brother speak so seriously, Yi Lingxi knew that revenge was impossible. The girl begrudgingly agreed. Bingxin, what is your perspective? Yi Fudu secretly posed the question to Bingxin. Very formidable, and he can contract multiple star generals. Hao Bingxin muttered. Star generals all had a psychic recognition for cultivators that matured after the star duels they were part of began. Based on this, they could know whether or not their counterpart could sign a contract. The reason Yi Fudu allowed Hao Bingxin to appear was to 1. Give Su Xing the impression of a favor, and the second reason was to let her sense Su Xing's identity. As expected, Yi Fudu's expression became profound. But his cultivation is so high, supervoid stage. Currently, the Azure Dragon territory only has Xie Zhenyuan and Zhao Hanyan as the 2 star masters that are this high, correct? Hao Bingxin was speechless. If he has contracted multiple star generals, and he has very good luck, reaching supervoid is not odd. Yi Fudu sneered. Does Fudu know who he is? Hao Bingxin could hear his implication. Of those currently shocking Liangshan continent, who else could he be but the Purple Thunder Monster? Yi Fudu stroked his chin. He is the Purple Thunder Monster? I felt that he was a very good person. Hao Bingxin blinked her eyes, crossing her arms and pondering pensively. Yi Fudu was not guessing groundlessly. In fact, he had concealed some elements in the 3 betting games. In chess, his thinking was very fast. This demonstrates that his divine intent is very strong and that he is a strategist. Is this not like the knowledge star's innate skill? And what was the second bet? Hao Bingxin asked. The second was martial arts, and the answer was even more clear. Yi Fudu narrowed his eyes, and his smile became awe-inspired. Even when I have your innate skill, with lifelong cultivated martial arts and the stupa blackened flame I obtained from the immemorial ruin vermilion bird ring, was surprisingly unable to overcome him. Even a supervoid sword saint could not possibly make me so powerless. Furthermore, several aspects of his actions have a star general's feel. Yi Fudu carefully thought. Those mist-like body techniques, his swift and severe boxing, his excellent combat thinking, and even his concealment ability all seem to originate from this reason. After returning to the Azure Dragon territory, Yi Fudu investigated information about the Purple Thunder Monster, and he was vaguely aware of his situation, like those hazy body techniques that were possibly due to bright star 10 feet of blue Hu Sanyang, the boxing from skillful star wanderer Yan Qing, and of course, there was that majestic star panther head Lin Chang's battle doctrine that no one in Liangshan was oblivious to. If this is the case, Fudu, you losing is not unjust. Hao Bingxin sighed, still feeling that Su Xing appeared relatively benevolent, unlike that star-killing, blood-sucking mad demon from legend. 2. Fudu, and what was that third game? Hao Bingxin asked. The third 9 palaces was just that I actually wanted to beat him. Yi Fudu grinned wryly, so he deliberately arranged for the first 4 to all be red. By doing so, anyone would have, after seeing 4 consecutive reds, chosen a red for the last 5. If the other player did this, they would have undoubtedly lost, but he did not expect that Su Xing would choose black all the way, in the end, surprisingly opening all 5, leaving no room for leeway. If he truly was a star master, Yi Fudu unexpectedly felt fear. Some time ago before the Longevity Palace, the Purple Thunder Monster's cultivation was merely supercluster middle stage. There is no reason for him to be able to advance so quickly, and the Purple Thunder Monster was proficient in a sort of purple chi or purple thunder. Though I did not see it, perhaps I am being oversensitive. Yi Fudu muttered, unclear whether or not this was to console himself. The petite porcelain-like girl turned her head back when she heard his words. Her cute expression seemed to be thinking, is he actually the Purple Thunder Monster? Are you actually the Purple Thunder Monster? Gong Kaiwei stared at Su Xing. Su Xing was taken aback. He smiled. Kaiwei, you mean to say, Fudu is currently thinking about my identity? Gong Kaiwei nodded. Even if he was not, he probably would have also guessed this. Su Xing objected. In chess, Yi Fudu displayed too much caution and care. In their spar, he also demonstrated exceptional martial arts. The last 9 palaces game was also considerably coincidental. In the end, Su Xing also had a certain understanding of Yi Futu. Hearing him say this, Gong Kaiwei knew that her worries were superfluous. The two of them returned to the Four Seas Hall. At this time, the banquet had already been underway for some time. Emperor Liang had already finished his speech and was sitting straight and upright on the platform. The other sects began to chat with each other, conversing. The atmosphere was heavy. Lianxin, how is the banquet progressing? Su Xing returned to the Four-Style School. Tang Lianxin summarized what had happened. For this Alliance of 10 banquet, other than what was scheduled concerning the Alliance of 10 conference, Emperor Liang had specially come with an announcement. The Along the River during Qingming portrait of the Great Liang Imperial Palace's forbid dance has been stolen, and the Emperor has compelled the Azure Dragon Territories sects to unite and pursue the enemy. Apparently, there were several Star Masters, their cultivations all at Supervoid stage. They easily avoided the Imperial Palace's eyes and ears to arrive at the forbid dance. Afterwards, they triggered the Forbidden Saray, but they still stole away the Along the River during Qingming. Now, everyone is discussing this matter. Ruan Hongxue pursed her lips and said, I feel that the Purple Thunder Monster's helpers have appeared. Otherwise, what is the point of stealing that Along the River during Qingming? If not to raise a reign of terror, releasing that prehistoric Liao Emperor. 3. There was even something like this? Su Xing was taken aback. The Star Masters were all Supervoid stage? Gong Kaiwei wrinkled her brow. The Supervoid puppets of the great Liang national scholar were no match. The cultivators that the Imperial Palace's star-sifting pavilion had nurtured were beaten into utter defeat. I heard those star generals were very formidable. Their martial arts were excellent, perhaps heavenly star level. Ruan Hong sighed. I fear the Purple Thunder Monster has finished searching for the information he wanted in the Azure Dragon territory. He has called the Black Turtle territories devil cults in preparation for an invasion of the Azure Dragon territory. It must be. That Purple Thunder Monster by himself has made humiliating the 10 great sects a common occurrence. Ruan Hongxue pursed her lips. Su Xing felt quite wronged. Just as he was about to say something, suddenly, a stern voice boomed through the Four Seas Hall. That Star Master is not the Purple Thunder Monster and has absolutely no relation with the Purple Thunder Monster. We shall reaffirm that. Emperor Liang coldly spoke, and the entire place was shaken into speechlessness. 5. Your Highness, why are you so certain of this? Northern Darkness has Fish gently smiled, leisurely drinking his wine. The star generals who attacked the forbid dance were not Lin Chong or Wu Song. They were all never-before-seen faces, and the Star Master who broke the array was an old man. If the Purple Thunder Monster is collaborating with the Black Turtle Territory's devil cults and the Vermilion Bird Territory's demi-clans, then we invite everyone to not forget that the Vermilion Bird Territory and Black Turtle Territory both hold enmity deep as the ocean against him. We have informed everyone of this to hear your thoughts, not to simply jump to conclusions. Emperor Liang indifferently said. Every single one of his moments was quite imposing. Northern Darkness has Fish objected. These words are a mistake. Your Highness also should be aware that the Purple Thunder Monster's background has always been a mystery, but his conduct and deeds have nevertheless raised a foul wind and bloody rain in the 3 territories. He knows that he has already become the target of everyone in the star duels. Perhaps stealing the Along the River during Qingming is an attempt to pull against the tide, to handle the other Star Masters. Emperor Liang, do not forget he previously released the Ghost Cavalry King. Emperor Liang's forehead wrinkled. His heart was a bit gloomy. He clearly knew that the Purple Thunder Monster could not possibly go steal the Along the River during Qingming, but upon careful thought, the Purple Thunder Monster's actions honestly left him with nothing to say. The Along the River during Qingming has been suppressed with the True Dragon Imperial Qi. Even if it is the Purple Thunder Monster, he would have no way to open it. And those Star Masters are all Supervoid stage. We can actually investigate first, to know of the Vermilion Bird Territory and Black Turtle Territory's Supervoid stage Star Masters. Shu Xindao said calmly. Do not forget about the White Tiger Territory's prehistoric demonkin. 6. Perhaps the purple thunder monster's true identity is that he originated from the white tiger territory. The true immortal Hall's outer void immortal said with icy arrogance. The fairy's words are extremely true. However, the interlopers have stolen the along the river during Qingming. Perhaps he knows the along the river during Qingming like the back of his hand. Perhaps he does have some way to open the seal. The outer void immortal continued. Xu Xindao agreed. The white tiger territory has always been very mysterious since ancient times, but it is actually strange that the white tiger territory would also have star masters. In short, we ask everyone present to lay down their grudges. First, we investigate clearly the intruders. Everyone does not want the Azure Dragon territory to be destroyed, correct? If you would truly put justice before friends and family, then you'd better forget about dying together for love. Su Xing laughed. Gong Kaiwei was silent. Only then did she explain the along the river during Qingming. 1,000 years ago, 50 years before the start of the Star Duels, the White Tiger Territory's demon clans once launched a desperate invasion, and there was an ancestral demon that came out of the White Tiger Territory. This one declared the name Liao, and was addressed as the prehistoric Liao Emperor, leading more than 1,000 demon beasts and demi-clans in a massacre of the Azure Dragon. In those years, the Azure Dragon territory's blood flowed like a river, with corpses strewn everywhere. Blood-red clouds covered the Azure Dragon territory 888 days, too, without scattering. The entire Azure Dragon territory was submerged in a sea of blood. Thousands upon thousands of sects united together. The cultivators' casualties were countless, but they finally repelled the Liao Kingdom's invasion. However, that prehistoric Liao Emperor and company were nevertheless extremely formidable, already at transforming star of annihilation, a stage of indestructibility and immortality. At that time, the Azure Dragon territory had no way of taking them down. Afterwards, the great Liang's national scholar Zhang Jingdao, 3, used a magic weapon that he had cultivated for all his life. This magic weapon was that along the river during Qingming. More than 100 supervoid cultivators united to erect the array, finally sealing the prehistoric Liao Emperor within the portrait. So as to avoid the prehistoric Liao Emperor ever again emerging as a scourge to the Azure Dragon, they placed it into the great Liang Kingdom's ley line suppression, exploiting the ley line and the imperial family's true dragon son of Heaven Qi to attempt to refine away the prehistoric Liao Emperor. Although that nightmarish, bloody history had already passed 1,000 years ago, it was still carved deeply into the depths of the minds of everyone in the Azure Dragon territory. Today, the along the river during Qingming had been stolen. It was no wonder all the cultivators would discuss this change. With the current decline in the Azure Dragon territory's cultivators, the number of supervoid cultivators could be counted on fingers. If the prehistoric Liao Emperor emerged, who could defy her? Could the legendary star maidens of Maiden Mountain? Perhaps not a single star master would involve themselves in this. After they scaled Maiden Mountain, whatever happened to the Azure Dragon territory was none of their concern. Transforming star of annihilation cultivator? Su Xing was interested. No wonder the atmosphere was so heavy. Just hearing Gong Caiwei's description, Su Xing could feel chills on his back. One transforming star of annihilation cultivator could sweep across Liangshan, but several? That was indeed helplessness in the face of a crisis. Does that White Tiger territory Liao Kingdom still exist? Tang Lianxin asked. That was the first state to arise in the White Tiger territory since the beginning of recorded history. It was named Great Liao Kingdom. It was perhaps founded by that ancestral demon, a country-toppling power to invade the Azure Dragon territory. With the prehistoric Liao Emperor sealed, the Liao Kingdom was destroyed. After this, the White Dragon territory was quiet for 1,000 years. Gong Kaiwei answered. This means that those cultivators who stole the along the river during Qingming may be a few remnant fangs of the great Liao? Su Xing muttered. Gong Kaiwei precisely felt this, so she asked Su Xing if he had come from the White Tiger territory. Relax, I won't let you die with me in the name of love. Su Xing patted Gong Caiwei's shoulder. Could she have been refined with such a long amount of time? Tang Lianxin asked. This was a difficult question to answer. After all, that Liao Emperor's realm was terrifyingly high. All of Liangshan continent had no way. Who knew if the true dragon imperial qi was capable of refining him? The originally spirited banquet now had a somber atmosphere because of this along the river during Qingming matter. Finally, when the banquet adjourned, everyone was brooding, each and every person had strained faces. Even the ancestral masters of the 10 great sects had grave expressions. Su Xing, I'm going to buy some things. Do you want to go together? Ruan Hongxue asked. You go on ahead. Su Xing watched Emperor Liang. After Emperor Liang left, he absent-mindedly followed along. In the Alliance of 10 banquet, he did not see Zhao Hanyan's figure. Su Xing had an increasingly uneasy feeling of foreboding. In a studio, the fragrance of tea. Emperor Liang stood straight in front of the window, his arms behind his back, deep in contemplation. Your distinguished self, what have you planned, following me here? Emperor Liang said aloud, his voice neither loud nor soft, neither cold nor warm. Su Xing's hiding was already considerably brilliant, yet Emperor Liang easily saw through it. He was not the Azure Dragon Territory's #1 without reason. Your Majesty, I have something I would like to consult on. Su Xing deferentially said. Emperor Liang turned around, his brow wearing a lifetime of augustness. We wonder what that would be? Your servant has a matter to discuss with the Ling Yan princess. May your servant ask why she has not come? When Su Xing finished asking, he immediately felt a seemingly substantive pressure pounce into his face, as if a towering mountain was pressing heavily upon him. Emperor Liang was still extraordinarily mighty, but those sharp eyes were locked firmly on Su Xing. Su Xing remained calm and unruffled. He had a strong feeling of cool breeze brushing against a hill. So you are that Su Xing? Emperor Liang's brow slightly wrinkled, not nearly recognizing him. This boy was surprisingly already supervoid stage. This speed was rather too fast. Precisely. Su Xing was calm. His killing intent immediately disappeared without a trace. Emperor Liang slightly smiled. So it is you. We heard Han Yan mention you before. And it appears that thou art actually exceptional. Her eyesight seems to be very good. If your servant offended your majesty before, then your servant asks for forgiveness. Su Xing chuckled. This old man could not resist flaunting his father-in-law face. Emperor Liang's smile became somewhat profound. He indifferently said, What matter do you seek her for? Personal matters that cannot be mentioned. Your servant wonders if your majesty could inform as to whether Hanyan's most recent situation is well? Emperor Liang smiled. He no longer had that imposing air of an emperor that stood above the populace. On the contrary, he had a bit of benevolence. For you to be able to be so concerned about Han Yan, we feel grateful. It appears that your relationship exceeds our imagination. Pausing, Emperor Liang suddenly turned cold. Then we had better inform you, the Ling Yan princess engaged a star master in a star duel. She has already passed away. Your concern is far too late? What did you say? Su Xing was suddenly jolted. His chest was stifled, and in that instant, his heart seemed to rend apart in pain. Su Xing spied a slight craftiness in Emperor Liang's eyes. Immediately, he composed himself. Gritting his teeth, Su Xing completely disregarded this great Liang Emperor's majesty and coldly said, Your Majesty, your servant asks that you not joke like this. Emperor Liang laughed. We merely wanted to see if you were sincere or not. Not bad, not bad. It appears the Ling Yan princess' eyesight is not bad. Su Xing cursed inwardly, fuck. However, how do you know that what we said is a lie? Falling in the star duels is a very normal matter. Emperor Liang said, with Hanyan's abilities, who could make her fall in the star duels? Su Xing pursed his lips. The 5-tiger general Dong Junqing and a supervoid cultivation, anyway it was put, Zhao Hanyan was already the #1 star master in the Azure Dragon territory. Whether it was the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon or Lady Snake Scorpion, neither were capable of making the Ling Yan princess starfall. Could it be you have forgotten about the purple thunder monster? Emperor Liang ruminated. The purple thunder monster is impossible. Su Xing chuckled. Are you so certain? That purple thunder monster has disturbed 3 territories, and even the great Saint Starkiller and Guan Sheng of the Black Turtle territory fell by his hand. Emperor Liang smiled and asked, Bullshit. Of course I am very certain. Su Xing twitched his mouth. Zhao Hanyan is the purple thunder monster's wife. What husband kills his own wife? I am the purple thunder monster. Before Emperor Liang could ask his next question, Su Xing explosively issued this declaration. Seeing Emperor Liang conducted himself shrewdly, he knew that Emperor Liang was most likely aware of his identity. Pretending any further was completely meaningless, so he might as well calmly inform him, let alone that with his intimate relationship with Zhao Hanyan, he did not fear Emperor Liang would make things difficult. Furthermore, that reaffirmation of his at the banquet demonstrated his position. As expected, Emperor Liang was not surprised at all. He indifferently replied, Su Xing, if your words were heard by the Most High Path or the others, the Ling Yen princess will have great trouble. Is Han Yen cultivating something in seclusion? Su Xing asked. She indeed was heavily injured by a Star Master and nearly died. Emperor Liang calmly said, What? The unease in his heart finally came true. Su Xing worriedly asked, How is she now? Her condition is not very good. The enemy used a type of prehistoric thunder. Currently, the Ling Yen princess is recuperating in the warm Phoenix Pavilion. The intertwined branch sword her mother left her is currently protecting her life, but her condition is not optimistic. We have already asked for the Queen Mother to come look after her, but the Queen Mother still needs several days in order to be able to arrive at Bian City. If only she could last until that time. The always unruffled Emperor Liang showed slight worry. I want to go see her. Su Xing coldly said. And she wishes to see you as well. Emperor Liang gave Su Xing an amulet that could allow him to travel unimpeded. If you can provide my daughter with critical care this time, pausing, Emperor Liang suddenly smiled, we shall allow you to become Hanyan's prince consort and recognize your purple thunder monster identity. Taking several steps, Su Xing suddenly turned his head back and asked in a low voice, Is the Star Master that star-dueled with Han Yen that old man who stole the along the river during Qingming? Most likely him. Emperor Liang nodded. What, do you know him? I fear he is the thunder spirit of the White Tiger Territory's 7 spirit stars. Su Xing sneered, turning around and leaving the study. Outside the door, Gong Kaiwei saw Su Xing exit, his expression a bit unsightly. She asked, What has happened? Is Emperor Liang unfavorable to you? Something has happened to Han Yen. I'm going to see her. Kaiwei, sorry, but I can't accompany you for another stroll. Su Xing apologetically said. Gong Caiwei's heart gushed forth with an indescribable complexity. Han Yen's matters are urgent. I shall go with you. But what about the treasure banquet? Su Xing pulled his hair. This back and forth, the treasure banquet was perhaps already at the end of the show. It would be a bit of a shame to miss out on the final, majestic auction. Gong Caiwei's smile was like winter snow. This princess has already purchased the arrays and materials she ought to have in this treasure banquet. As for the Supervoid banquet, I originally did not have plans to involve myself, let alone, Zhao Hanyan and I are considered acquaintances. This princess also wishes to know what happened to her. Then good. Su Xing did not shirk any further. Walking out of the Four Seas Palace, Su Xing first sought out Ensuan and simultaneously activated his divine intent to inform the other wives. Very quickly, all the girls gathered together. Su Xing then summarized what had happened to Zhao Hanyan. The wives naturally did not oppose, and finally discussing a bit, Su Xing, Lin Yingmei, Gong Sun Huang, Hunyangzi and Ensuan would first move for Bian City. The others would remain at the treasure banquet to continue plans for the star duels. Lin Wangmei, Gong Sun Huang, and Hunyangzi mainly were to guard against the third overlord's sneak attack, and Ensuan was to treat Zhao Hanyan. By the time that Queen Mother of West Luan arrived, the food would have already gone cold. Papa! Bai Yutong blinked her eyes and extended her hand. There were several bottles of wine. Zhang Yuqi explained, "This is the dark rank wine, Yearning Day and Night, 5, that Tang Tang newly refined over the past few days. Perhaps it will be useful. Tang Tang is certainly attentive of you, Papa." The damaged star giggled. "Thank you, Tang Tang." Su Xing stroked her head. He smiled at Wu Xinjie and the others, "And many thanks to the other wives for your care." "Since when am I one of your wives?" The Hua Wanyue in the crowd that had been called back frowned in bewilderment. "They are tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure."